Hey, it's the bakagaijinshow. You know the one you're listening to right now. You came here, you clicked on this for some reason, and now you're stuck with us. You're not allowed to leave. It's illegal.
For the next however long this podcast lasts.
It is illegal to turn off this podcast.
It is illegal, you know.
No, I was going for like the Knuckles stamp meme.
Ah, right.
Remember when that was huge?
Forgot. Yeah.
All those fucking I actually got some in my recommendations lately for some reason. It was like Knuckles fucking ranks all the Bleach girls. And it's like, and I'm like, after I watched this for like 5 minutes, I'm like, wait a minute, this isn't Knuckles' opinions. This is your opinions using Knuckles as a vessel.
You're putting words in Knuckles' mouth.
And I can tell you have shit taste because you marked all the lolis as illegal.
Yep, absolutely fucking garbage taste.
Mm-hmm.
Cannot recommend. Sorry.
You've taken all the fun out of Knuckles memes.
Welcome to the internet. They take the fun out of a lot of memes.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I want to... I kind of want to do an offshoot of that, where I do, like, you know, approvals for all of the loli characters, and then all of the, like, you know, busty adult women are just like, no, this is now illegal. I just want to invert it, just for the fun of it.
Yeah. This would require you to know all of the Bleach girls, though.
This is true. This is very true.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, Bleach doesn't have a whole lot of lolis. I can count how many there are in, like, one hand. So...
You'd think. This video was like 13 minutes long, though.
Christ, Bleach has a lot of characters in it.
No, yeah, when he said Knuckles, aka he, ranks all the Bleach girls, he meant all of the Bleach girls.
All of them. No exceptions.
All of them.
Absolutely no exception.
No, on the wiki, if they're tagged under female character, Knuckles will rank them, and by that I mean that douchebag will rank them, and Knuckles will be an unwitting participant in his degradation of a once great pastime.
Yep.
Which is stamping things on paper.
Approved!
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Now, there are a whole bunch of different, like, snow clone versions of, like, similar memes that, like, are just, fucking Michael Rosen rating things is also driven into the ground.
Yeah.
Like, that entire style of meme format is just dead to me. Just not fun anymore.
Mm-hmm.
After the first 10 or so videos, you kind of notice a pattern.
Yeah. The pattern being that everyone has shitty opinions.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't want to see Michael Rosen rate all the Sonic games. Thank you.
Ah, it's a bit rich.
It's a bit rich.
What Sonic game deserves that ranking in your opinion? It's a bit rich.
Fuck, I don't know. Shadow the Hedgehog, I don't know.
It is a bit rich.
It is a bit rich.
It's a bit much.
I've said it before. Shadow the Hedgehog is my guilty pleasure video game. Like, it's a terrible game, but damn, it's fun.
Yeah, I think I've decided Fallout 3 is my favorite bad game.
And the thing is, like, even as far as, like, quote-unquote bad games go, that's still, like, a 6 out of 10 in the general scheme of things. Shadow the Hedgehog is actually bad. Like, I wouldn't give that higher than a 4. But, oh my god, it's a great time.
I mean, you gotta give it at least 1 point for killing the president.
Right, that bumps it up to a 5. That's a good point.
Yep. Mm-hmm, yep. Give me a gun. Give me a gun.
Give me a gun! I gotta shoot the president! One of the few funny things Game Grumps has done in the last few years.
That was a long time ago. That was like 2015.
Oh, Christ. Ugh. And remember when Aaron Hansen was funny?
We're getting old.
Yep.
Join us as we discuss the inevitabilities just in
in
general.
general.
Just the
All
inevitabilities.
inevitabilities. All of them.
Yep.
Regardless.
Yeah. Look forward to me discussing my taxes.
Now it's time to go on to the real subject: systemic oppression. No,
I mean, we talk about that sometimes.
we've talked about it before. True.
Yeah. And we'll do it again.
Maybe not today. Maybe some other time.
Maybe in a day. It'll probably crop up at some point.
Yep.
As it wants to do. It is systemic after all.
Everyone talks about women's rights. Now it's time to talk about women's wrongs.
So we're here again, another Ceridanless adventure.
Yeah, old boy is out busy being social.
Yeah. I mean, he guilt tripped us. He's like, oh, if I don't see them now, I won't see them for another 6 months. And I'm like, well, I can't say no to that.
It's a good point, though. He makes a good point.
Here we are.
Yep.
By our lonesome classic style episode, rambling on to fill time.
Classic style episode with new style visuals.
New style vibes.
Yep. Because look at
Let's
this.
Let's just sit here and vibe. Let's just fucking vibe for a sec.
Yeah.
That's nice. That's some nice vibes.
Some good vibes.
Yeah.
Fucking love it.
Yep.
Beautiful. Yep. Absolutely beautiful.
Yep.
You're
blowing up. Your phone's blowing up.
No, that's just YouTube. Okay, I'm gonna put my phone somewhere where it's not gonna buzz the table. There, it's in my lap.
Now it'll buzz your lap.
Yeah, but
stimulating you and pleasuring you sexually.
Sorry.
Yeah. Well, it's like that meme where it's like type some inflammatory comment, then shove the phone up your ass.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for some YouTuber to actually try that. Today, we're gonna shove this phone straight up my bunghole. Oh, god damn it.
I want to see an
delivery.
God, that just reminds me of the scene from Family Guy where, like, Brian goes into a movie, types a really racist tweet, turns it off, and just comes out of the theater with everybody hating him.
Yep. There you go.
We talk about Family Guy a lot here for some reason.
Yep.
The jokes. I am understanding the jokes.
It's true. It's true. What's going on? What's going on this week then?
This week, the last couple of weeks, the times since we last recorded a full episode of the Bakagaijinshow. Yeah, quite a bit actually. Been catching up on. So, like, I've been behind on the weekly anime. The only anime I'm not currently caught up on are Ursa Yatsura and Gundam Witch from Mercury. I am caught up on Chainsaw Man, which... God, I fucking love the direction of that show.
Yeah.
It's so well directed. It's got... I just fucking love the pacing of the individual scenes and the way that everything kind of comes together on that one. Apparently the director said that in order to... apparently the director of Chainsaw Man said in order to capture kind of the essence of the manga, as well as some of the original manga creators' own personal tastes in movies, he tried to frame a lot of the shots and a lot of the pacing similar to a live-action movie. And I think that approach really works well in Chainsaw Man's case, because it gives it this really nice, kind of lived-in, kind of gritty feel to it, which works really well for the story.
All that redrawing over CG also helps that heft feel.
It does. It really does.
Yeah, it's not my preference, but I can't say it doesn't work for the show.
It works for as a stylistic decision, it does work pretty well. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Caught up on the dub of Ruby Ice Queendom. I believe we're up to episode 7 now.
I haven't caught up to that. It's the one thing I keep forgetting to watch.
Oh, please watch the newest episode. It has one of the most hilarious things I've ever seen Jacques Schnee do.
Does he hit the gritty?
No.
No.
He goes ooh-woo.
Oh, the gift that keeps on giving.
I fucking love Ice Queen.
It's the best comedy of the year.
Oh god. No, I'm not sure if Ice Queendom is good or bad yet, but I can't say I'm not entertained.
Yeah.
It keeps giving me new shit. I can't complain. I can't complain, honest to God. Ice Queendom's good. Ice Queendom's interesting. I can't call it good yet.
Yeah. No, I caught up with yesterday before work. I caught up with Reincarnated as a Sword and The Eminence in Shadow.
Yeah, I believe you said one of those shows is like super generic, but it has just one female character that you really, really like.
Yeah, Reincarnated as a Sword. I read the first volume earlier this year, which we're still adapting. They're gonna finish that in episode 7, which is crazy.
They're taking their time to adapt it, so that's all right.
Yeah. Well, it's like, yeah, I like the adaptation though because it trims out a lot of the boring fat from the book, a lot of the stat nonsense. They still talk about it, but like in like it's much quicker. Like you don't get the sword teacher narrating the entire like thought process behind these stats in real time like you do in the book, so it goes by a lot faster. It's also surprisingly well animated and well directed. I'll say that. Yeah. But even so with the making the best, and there's a slight reframing of the perspective, sort of away, because the book is written in first person from teacher's point of view.
Yeah.
Teacher is the sword, by the way. That's just what Fran calls him.
Yeah.
But the anime is framed in a more general sense. Like if you like, you really like, in terms of like the story, like Fran is undeniably the main character.
Yeah.
And the anime kind of just knows that and runs with it. And because you don't have as many intermissions from teacher's perspective, it feels more balanced, and it feels more centered around what it should be instead of centered around endless narration about stats and shit like that.
Right.
So I do like how it's subtly reframed, and it's a very for one of these novels, it's a surprisingly competent production, and I do like it. That said, it's still a lit RPG style, which I'm not huge on. I really don't. I feel like lit RPG elements are sort of the death of tension. Although I will say the lack of emphasis in the anime on discussing them ad nauseum does help in that regard. Because the problem I have with the book is that when you describe action set pieces in these lit RPG terms, it becomes very it becomes like a systemic thing, and it becomes like a you discuss action in terms of mechanics, not in terms of narrative investment. But in an anime, they kind of skip past all that for the most part and just kind of show the fight. So I feel like anime onlys are getting a better experience in this regard because they're not constantly being reminded of the mechanics of the situation.
Yeah.
They're just engaging with the spectacle of the fight, and the fights are pretty well animated, so it is in fact a spectacle, unlike a lot of like budget isekai shows where like it's just a slideshow, you know, or they try to be animated and it's just fucking weird, like Spider turned out by the end. The latter half of the Spider isekai is a fucking fever dream. But yeah, I really like But even so, so far anyway, I don't know where the series goes, but just based on the material from the first volume, which is what they've been adapting so far and what I read, I'd say it's a very average isekai show, but it's held up immensely by Fran, who the anime goes a long way in just the visualization, because her personality in the book is so what's the word I'm looking for? Um at least in the first volume, she's kind of deliberately underwritten. But in the anime, you actually see a lot more character get conveyed through the animation and the visuals itself.
Yeah.
So that helps a lot, which I'm sure that's probably what the author was envisioning, but I don't think they did a great job of conveying that.
Like in the novel, it just didn't get conveyed well, but it's done better in the anime.
Yeah, like it's conveyed a lot better. So the anime, I think, is definitely an improvement in that regard.
That's good to hear.
That said, so far plot wise, nothing particularly special, but it does have Fran, so that's my hook.
It does have Fran, and Fran good.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the Eminence in Shadow was I legitimately think the person who wrote this had schizophrenia. And I mean that in both good and bad ways.
Do tell.
The Eminence. I keep calling it His Eminence in Shadow because I think I saw it translated that way once, but I think officially it is The Eminence in Shadow. The Eminence in Shadow is about. Have you never heard of it before? Do I have to go through the whole shebang?
Yeah, sure.
That didn't answer the question, but I'll do it anyway. So The Eminence in Shadow is about a guy. The entire first episode is pre-reincarnation. It's his life in like modern day Japan or whatever. And this guy is obsessed with being something he calls the Eminence in Shadow. So basically, yeah. So he basically wants to be like a shadowy, underworld sort of like boss type figure, but have everyone think he's just a nameless mook because he thinks that's cool, sort of like like a charade thing, sort of like he wants to be kind of like Lelouch basically, where it's like everyone just thinks he's a normal schoolboy, but actually he's organizing, he's running shit behind the scenes. He's the Eminence in Shadow, but like as far in that world, it's impossible. And there's this whole monologue at the end about how, well, I can train my body and I can make all these plans or whatnot, but at the end of the day, if somebody sends a nuke my way, I'm just dead.
Yeah.
But now I'm reborn in a new world and there's magic. And that's the key to being the true Eminence in Shadow. The thing that makes that's fine. The protagonist is actually insane, and that's part of the fun is that he's actually insane because he has weird priorities. Like there's one point later where he's being tortured by the Night Order, and he's literally like, wait a minute, I'm not acting enough like a nameless mook, I gotta ham it up a little. And then he literally starts crying and begging for his life and so that they torture him harder because it'll make a better scene.
Oh my god.
And he deliberately picks like the most generic, like as his like at the swordsman like academy or whatever, he has like these two friends that are like the most stock like high school but like perverse high school buddies anyone could ever have from any show, and he deliberately picked them because they fit the archetype he was going for. So
dude, this dude is playing 5D chess. What the shit?
Yeah, so like that's fine. The problem I have with the Eminence in Shadow is that the setup for this story has to do so much shit that's just not earned at all because it just sort of happens off screen.
Yeah.
So let me walk you through the sequence of events. Okay, so we have this first episode, which is not even framed from the main character's perspective. It's actually framed from like one of his classmates' perspectives.
Okay.
And she's got her whole business going on that doesn't matter ultimately past episode 1 because he dies and he goes to a different world, so it's like whatever. But it's this whole setup where she gets kidnapped because she's like a TV star or something. I forget the exact. She's famous in some way. and she gets kidnapped for ransom, and then he comes in with a crowbar, acting with a mask and a crowbar, sort of acting like the Eminence in Shadow, and then because she has a bad opinion of him as a classmate, and then he rescues her, but she doesn't actually, she suspects, but she doesn't actually know it was him. So it's like that effect he's going for, where like they're not really sure if he really is, like something happened behind the scenes, but like I can't suspect that guy. He's just too normal, It's like that whole thing that he gets off on for some reason. And then he randomly dies in a car crash at the end of the episode.
Okay.
Or no, a truck, but whatever. He was on a bike, it was a truck, whatever. So anyway, so all that setup we just did, fuck all that. Forget all that. What's her face? Never seeing her again. So that's how we set up the situation. And then once he's reborn in like a family that is known for like producing like Dark Knights, like the class. And he has like an older sister who is like a prodigy, but he has an older sister who's a prodigy, but he's actually better. He actually becomes better than her, but he doesn't want the attention, so he acts like he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. And then while in his childhood, he starts acting as the Eminence in Shadow behind the scenes, in terms of like fucking up like local like bandits and shit.
Yeah.
And at one point, he stumbles across this. This is going to increasingly sound insane as I try to recap
it already sounds like a fever dream. So keep going. Let's see how deep the rabbit hole goes here.
Yeah, but I want you to understand this sequence of events I'm describing is how the show presents it for the most part.
Okay.
I'm recapping a bit, but not as much as you might think I am.
Okay.
Off screen, he gets this like slime cloak. It's like his iconic like black like cloak with the high collar and the hood or whatever. And it's like made of slime, so it can like mold into the shadows, and he like can form like shadow blades and shit.
Oh my god. Okay.
Which is cool.
It is.
But he gets it at like age 8 off screen. Like he just has it. And at one point when he's fucking up these bandits, he comes across like this blob creature, this like tortured blob creature in a cage, which he takes back to his like manor to practice magic on, and eventually he just kind of bumfucks his way into undoing whatever curse was applied to it, and it turns into like this elf girl, who later dubs herself Alpha, and so okay,
very creative name.
Yeah, well, okay, so this is gonna take a second.
The exasperated. Okay, so
she, the blob monster turns out to be like a cursed girl, who later calls herself Alpha. That's not actually her name. She can't remember her name, but
yeah,
it's like a whole thing. I'll explain that in a second. We gotta go through this step by step. So she asks, "What happened to me?" And this guy. His reincarnated name is Sid, by the way, so he's Sid. And Sid is like, okay, I gotta make up a cool sounding backstory for how this happened. So he basically just makes it up, where he's like, yes, a curse was placed upon you by the cult of Diablos. And I am here to recruit you to my cause. And she buys it wholeheartedly. And then it turns out that the cult of Diablos is real. And everything he just made up on the spot is actually true for some reason.
He just bullshits this stuff into existence.
He made up a backstory to explain this, and then it's just real. And I need you to understand, like, this isn't. It's like you might
literally spoke it into existence. What the shit is this?
You might get the impression from how I'm describing it that this is like a Konosuba-esque parody, but it doesn't play itself that way most of the time. There's like moments of comedy, but it's not. The series as itself doesn't seem to treat itself as like a parody. It treats itself fairly seriously, which is weird because it's insane. But anyway, so she she goes off and they kind of find more of these like mutated blobs that turn into hot girls.
Oh god.
And he forms the organization, and like this is mostly off screen, by the way. And like he forms the organization Shadow Garden, and because they can't remember their names, they take on like code numbers, so alpha, beta, gamma, delta, yada yada. You know how Roman, not Roman. You know how is that Roman? Is that Roman numerals? No, it's like alpha, beta, gamma, delta, epsilon, eta,
yeah,
zeta.
No, that's not Roman numerals. That's
Roman.
That's Greek lettering.
Right. Yeah. So like that, they take code numbers or whatever. Yeah. So mostly off screen. By the time he's like 11 or whatever, he has basically assembled like a pseudo harem spy network in this conflict that he made up on the spot but turns out is real. And then at the end of episode 2 they just leave. There's like, they just leave. With like almost no character build up. They just leave. It's like, we got to go prepare to fight the cult of Diablos.
Oh my god.
And so he's like, oh, okay, well I guess they're gone. And then he spends a few more years training at his manor before he gets shipped off to the same sword academy as his sister. And then the next few episodes are about a completely new plot about a princess at the academy who he has to fake being in a relationship with because she has an arranged marriage to the sword instructor, who it turns out is a member of the cult of Diablos. And she gets kidnapped by this mad scientist, and they're doing some kind of experiments with royal blood or whatever.
How is this bullshit still going?
And so when it's time for him to act, though, he'll call upon like the Shadow Garden, and it's really fucking weird how like none of that was like earned. It just sort of, most of it just happened off screen to set up. This show is like the ultimate example of putting the premise before the horse. Like it is so eager to get to the premise that it can't be bothered to actually build it up.
Yeah.
So like once the quote unquote main plot actually starts, it's so weird, because to get to like the main plot about the royal blood and the experiments and the princess or whatever, like we have to do all this fucking setup of, he was in the real world and he had these delusions, and then he got run over by a truck, and now he's reincarnated, and he formed the Shadow Garden off screen by making up some bullshit, and they buy it because it turns out to be real. So yeah, so we have like it's like they set up like 3 different plots in a row, and then they're like, no, we're just following this one. This other one's happening like in the background. We didn't really set it up. And the line I keep coming back to is when he calls upon them again. Like Alpha says something like, Delta's been missing you. And I'm just like, who the fuck is Delta? We have not met Delta. Okay? I know which one that is because I read the fucking TV tropes page. Not because the story organically told me that.
Anybody who's completely new to this story is just lost. It's like, who the hell is Delta?
Yeah. It's yeah. Like, and I'm just sitting here going like, this is so, there's so many cool ideas here, but it's so, at least the beginning is so sloppily thrown together just to get to the premise. Because the premise of the story is being the Eminence in Shadow, right? It's having this spy network of hot women under you or whatever, But
honestly, squaggles.
Yeah, sure. But the road to get there is so like hasty and messy and weird, because it's just like, I'm not gonna say it's not entertaining, but it's just so weirdly written. Like, why would you not build these things? Why is all this? Why is so much of this happening off screen? Why does this have to be this way? Why does it have to? I think one of these fucking elements had to either go or be held off till later. Like, because this is in my mind as a writer. A lot of times when I'm watching shows and I come across things that I don't particularly like how they are handled, I think to myself, how would I fix this?
Yeah.
how would I do this better? And in the case of the Eminence in Shadow, I think one of these elements, first of all, I'm sorry, I've been holding this in because the show has just been baffling me for weeks now.
Okay.
So, first of all, the classic question I ask of so many of these fucking shows is, did this need to be an isekai? And the answer, in the case of the Eminence in Shadow, I think no, but I also get why they did, because the idea of wanting to be the Eminence in Shadow would feel weird if you didn't have the context of like modern media.
Right.
Because he makes all those sort of internal references to tropes and things like that, which would be weird if he wasn't from like a modern place. So, okay, so from that aspect, I guess we can't make it like a traditional fantasy series. So I'm like, wouldn't this work better as like an urban fantasy then? Because then you can have this setup. You can have that setup and not waste it by throwing it away for a different setup. You know, you don't have to do like you don't have to like introduce the character in his world and then scrap all that and then reintroduce the character in his world. You know?
Yeah.
So it's like if you just made it like a more modern thing, you wouldn't have to like waste all this work. And the weird thing is that like another weird thing about this show is the opening. Because the opening it's like framed by Sid, but it's mostly focusing on the Shadow Garden.
Yeah.
But not the Shadow Garden as they are in the story. It's like the Shadow Garden if they were like a superhero squad in modern day.
Oh god.
Which is, it's weird the opening is so dissonant from what the actual aesthetic and plot of the show is. Like, you watch the opening, you would think it's a completely different show. Because it looks like
I'm really starting to understand your assertion that this seems like it was written by a schizophrenic.
Yeah. Like, or at least, yeah, and also probably directed by one. Because the opening has nothing to do with the show outside of the few framing moments of Sid walking through a junkyard turning on a TV. But like the actual opening is like all of the Shadow Garden members like dressed up in like white superhero like Sentai garb in like modern day Japan. But like that's not the show until like the very end where like it shows like the actual like how they are in the show itself as like the last framing shot. But like why is most of the opening not about that? But like having the opening like that made me think, wouldn't this work? This premise would work better as an urban fantasy, wouldn't it? Like another thing that helps my assertion in that case is the fact that it is an isekai. It's like a fantasy world, but it's a little bit more advanced than most like stock isekai. Like it's almost like almost Victorian-esque because they got like steam power things and like this carriages, big city, you know, classic. It feels more like Victorian London than it does like stock isekai fantasy, like medieval fantasy. And towards the end, they even start introduce like. Okay, so in the most recent episode, and for any sticklers who are listening to this, by most recent I mean the most recent on High Dive, because High Dive has like this fucking 5 or 6 day delay. So by most recent, I don't mean like most recent. I mean most recent on High Dive.
Yeah.
Not that anyone will ever correct me on that, but in the most. So it turns out, again, off screen, because
it's still going!
Because apparently half the fucking plot takes place off screen. One of the Shadow Garden members, Gamma, took offhanded mentions of things that Sid was talking about. So Sid apparently off screen in the past offhandedly mentioned things about his old world in the form of what he called like knowledge of shadow or whatever. And apparently from that, Gamma gets the idea to create a fucking what I can only describe as like actual modern mall, and she invents chocolate.
Oh my god.
So again, the setting keeps getting modernized in these weird ways because of these offhanded settings. Like they literally fucking Shadow Garden literally invents chocolate based on like offhanded mentions from Sid years past where he was like, "Oh yeah, if you take these bitter ass beans and mix them with a shitload of sugar, they taste great when salt solidified."
This just sounds like
That's
this just sounds like the writer was reading both Rising of the Shield Hero and Dr. Stone at the same time while snorting just a line of coke in between every volume. It's just, oh my god.
It sounds to me like he had a great. It sounds to me like he had a very solid idea of what kind of premise he wanted.
Yeah.
But the journey to get there was littered with both. How do I put this?
It's like he had a lot of it's like he had a lot of cool ideas, but no idea how to coalesce them into a cohesive story.
Either he didn't know how to coalesce them, or there's a lot of editorial mandates going on here. I could see that, or he's just one of those guys. I saw this a lot in my old like Rousic days back in like fiction press. There's a lot of people that have a great idea for a story premise, but they don't want to put in the grunt work to actually build up to it.
Yeah.
Like organically in a narrative sense. So they just kind of like half-ass all that and just get to the meat of it. And this definitely feels a lot like that. This almost feels like a story I would read in my old fiction press writing group. Where someone has a great idea for a premise, like for like where they want the story to end up and be what the bulk of it is. But they just skip past all the introductory like build-up stuff. And I'm like, no, build-up is important, you know? Like, and that's another way I would have fixed this, is that like, so I'd have like the building of, if the story is about Shadow Garden, why is all of the build-up to that off-screen? Why is it just like completely off-screen and then he just like, as soon as the actual real plot starts, he just has it?
Yeah.
Like, you should either start him with it or actually build it up organically. But it tries to kind of do both in like a really half-assed fashion.
Yeah, that,
you know. So yeah, so that's the one thing. It's like, if you want this premise, I would say you got to pick a starting path. Either he already is the leader of Shadow Garden and it's like an established thing, or you build it up organically. This tries to do both. And also throw on this isekai shit on top of it, and it just kind of becomes a kind of a clusterfuck.
Yeah, it just. Go ahead.
And I do want to clarify, the show is fun to watch. I don't think it's particularly well written, and a lot of people excuse it with it's a parody. It's trying to be like a parody, and I'm like, no. I don't think it is though, because like it. There are some scenes that are framed comedically, but for the most part, it takes itself relatively seriously. It's weirdly straight-lipped. I don't think it's trying to be a parody. I think there are things about it that are like subtly satirical, but it's playing them extremely straight. So it has a bit of an identity crisis. I'm not sure exactly what tone it wanted to go for in that regard. If it was trying to be a parody, I think more often than not it takes itself too seriously. Yeah. And if it's trying to take itself too seriously, it needs to put in that grunt work to actually build things up organically. Because in a parody, sure, you can write off that lack of build up as a joke, like to get to the point, to get to like the punchline. In like a parody, you could do that. In a story you want people to take seriously, you can't do that. So I think there's a bit of an identity crisis there. So. Yeah. How I would resolve this introduction is one of these fucking elements has to go. Either we need to cut the isekai crap and do like an urban fantasy thing, or we need to keep the isekai crap but build up Shadow Garden organically and have like because it also really seems it's something I like to call like delayed backfilled writing, right? Where it's like we're gonna throw a bunch of characters and ideas at the screen, and then just establish them there, and then we're gonna backfill why you should give a shit later. Yeah. Which is kind of like, again, it's putting the premise before the horse. You know, it's yeah. So that I think is how I would fix it. Is one of these fucking elements has to go because they can't all work like this, at least not in the way the show has written them. And as entertained as I am, I think the introduction, at least, maybe it goes interesting places. It probably does. I've heard people really like this series eventually.
Yeah.
But I think
Eventually.
the introduction is kind of a fucking schizophrenic mess. Because it's a jumble of different focuses and weird priorities and putting the premise before the execution. And it's weird. It's like I got 3 episodes in. I'm like, this is weird. This is weird how this has been built up. I'm here for it because it's cool.
Yeah.
And it's funny at times, but also it's fucking weird. You know?
Yeah.
If anything, it's actually interesting talking about both of these shows, because I would actually say Reincarnated as a Sword has sort of an opposite issue, where it is actually committed to the build-up, but they didn't make the build-up super interesting outside of the central duo of Teacher and Fran. So we're going through every step of the build-up for the most part, but it's fairly stock.
Yeah.
This is trying to be super interesting out the gate, but it has too much going on at once that it can't be bothered to expand upon.
Yeah.
So it just comes across as a mess. And I'm just like, damn, I wish there was something in the fucking middle of these things. You know?
Yep.
This is why, like, if I end up giving... I don't know. Anyway, that was what I was catching up on yesterday.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So I've been meaning to talk about Eminence and Shadow for a while now.
Fair enough, and you've finally gotten your chance. Congratulations. Holy fuck. But, yeah, back to what I've been doing. Because I'm still in the middle of that. You know, I've been catching up on weekly anime shit. Been playing video games, of course. Halo Infinite had the winter update pretty recently. You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Halo Infinite had the winter update recently, and the winter update is really good. It rebalances a lot of the weapons that have needed rebalancing. The plasma rifle is way better now. It tracks a lot better. It has better damage output. It's actually pretty good now. I love the plasma pistol now. The plasma pistol used to be a fucking dog shit piece of crap. But now it's actually like a really good like secondary weapon.
Yeah.
It actually makes for a really good replacement for the standard pistol, so that's great. The BR, the battle rifle, had a bit of a nerf, but like they didn't alter its damage output. They just changed the aim magnetism and the effective range of it, which is fine because like before the nerf, you could literally snipe people across the map with the basic BR, which is like a little ridiculous. So lowering the effective range of the weapon is actually a good idea. And Forge got added, and the community for Halo Infinite, as you can probably imagine, has just been going absolutely ham with Forge. And 343 also added 2 new maps to rotation that they built in Forge themselves. Both are really good. One of them took a little bit of time to get used to because it's a bit of a more complex and kind of spread out map. But the other one is a more straightforward, centralized design map. But they're both really good. I really like both of them. They're really good. They really add a lot to the gameplay. They added a new offshoot of One Flag called Covert One Flag. The difference here being the attacking team has active camo, or invis, and the defending team has threat sensors that they can just fire around to find the invisible players. Which is really fun, actually. I think it adds a really nice new wrinkle to one flag. It's really good. Yeah, no, Halo Infinite's turning out really well now. It's got a lot of the content that it should have at launch. It's got Forge. We're going to start getting more consistent new content updates every few weeks now. I'm looking forward to seeing what 343 does with the game, because what they've added so far over the last few months has done a lot to really bring me back into the game, and I've been playing a lot more lately. I've been playing.
They add campaign co-op.
They are adding campaign co-op. I believe they either already have added or are going to add campaign co-op. They're also going to add, I believe they, actually no, I think this is also folded in with the winter update. I believe they've also added a mission replay system, so you can just replay certain elements of the main game at any time with like a friend. So that's cool. But no, yeah, Halo Infinite's really coming into its own now, and that's really great to see. Sheridan kind of likened it to Halo 5 in that a lot of people didn't like Halo 5 at launch, but about a year on, like over time, 343 did a lot to rebalance and rework the game, and a lot of people really liked it after that. So Halo Infinite's kind of in a similar boat, where it launched in a pretty rough state, but it's been iterated upon, and it's been expanded upon to the point where, yeah, it feels like a really solid game now. And that's really good. So been doing that. Winter Update's been very good. Really breathes a lot of new life into the game, especially with the rebalanced weapons. Fiesta is better than it has been before in Halo Infinite. And I already like Fiesta as a game mode. It's just, it's better now because half the weapons aren't shit. Which was the biggest issue. Another thing that I really like, they also rebalanced the Commando. The Commando is fucking great now. It's a really good weapon. The biggest issue with the Commando beforehand was that it had so much insane barrel climb that it had no accuracy to speak of after 2 shots. Like, you had to pulse that thing. So they severely lowered the amount of barrel climb that the Commando has, so it's actually a lot easier to spray. So I'm happy with that rebalance, because I like the Commando like conceptually and design wise. It's just in terms of execution, it needed work, and I'm glad it's to where it should be now. Maybe they could, buff the Commando further going forward. I don't know, but what they have so far is really good. I, of course, have been playing Fortnite, and I completed the most recent Battle Pass. That said, I found an interesting little thing with the Spider-Gwen skin set that annoys the absolute shit out of me. So, every new character skin set has what is referred to as back bling, which is really just, a little backpack on, like, the back of the character that faces the player. It's just something to give the character more distinction, more flair from behind, so that the player has something else to look at while they're playing. But Spider-Gwen has the Spider-Gwen's back bling is the meanwhile narration box from the Across the Spider-Verse trailer. And in an example of Fortnite just being an impeccably optimized video game, and I mean that in the most sarcastic way possible, the meanwhile back bling is so horridly unoptimized that if it is too close to the player if it is too close to the camera, it drops the frame rate by like a fraction of what it should be. Like, I have a video on my Twitter where I am in a small enclosed room with nothing else but my character being rendered on screen, and I move the camera so that the meanwhile back bling is close to the camera. When it is closest to the camera and filling up most of the screen, the frame rate goes down to like 27 frames per second on my laptop, but like when I move the camera away, it goes back up to like 85, 90 to 100. Like it's really bad. It's really poorly optimized. I really hope Epic Games fixes that because it makes the game very, very rough if you're using just that one item. I had to swap it out for my fucking Among Us back bling, which yes, I have one of those. But
Have to have a back bling?
yeah, you can't just take it off. You have to substitute it with a different one. It's weird, but
It's bizarre.
it's very bizarre. But no, I swapped it out for my Among Us back bling, which it's fine. I'm just gonna wait for Epic Games to fix that. But I'm trying to get through the extra rewards afterwards so I can get Spider-Gwen without the mask on. And I'm about halfway to what, and I'm like 10 levels, 10, 15 levels away from getting that, so that's something I'm working on. Also in the news of video games, Sonic Frontiers came out, and QB the Third was kind enough, gracious enough, and generous enough to buy it for me. Thank you. I didn't even ask, but I appreciate it so much. And Sonic Frontiers, I'm about 12 hours into the game now. Sonic Frontiers is really, really good.
Yeah.
I really like it. It's got rough points. It's definitely got rough points. It does have a lot of pop-in. The presentation does leave a little bit to be desired. And there are a couple of like little nitpicks that I can give, like the light speed dash doesn't keep your momentum after it's done, and it doesn't have a way to manually change the time of day, and a couple of challenges are tied to the time of day, so it would have been nice if they included a way to change the time of day manually, but like it's just kind of a nitpick, honestly. It doesn't break the game, it's just a little annoyance.
Yeah.
I mean, I say that, but I did spend 20 minutes waiting for it to be nighttime twice. Just so I could complete one challenge, but that's beside the point. No, the game is really fun. I love the way Sonic controls in this game. Turns out, Sonic in an open sandbox environment is a great pairing. Like, the boosting and being able to just traverse large expanses very fast using Sonic is just super fun and super rewarding. I actually really like the way that there are different challenges and different platforming things that you can do across the entire overworld map. It really gives a lot of like good moment-to-moment gameplay, you know, for players to just go around and attempt challenges and just get things. It's really good. The addition of combat, it's a little button mashy, I will admit that, and it could probably use a little bit more iteration and a little bit more depth to it, but just the addition of just basic combat and combos really, really elevates the basic Sonic gameplay, because Sonic the Hedgehog in 3D, up until this point, has only really been able to do like a couple of things, and most of it is just like variations on the spin dash. With this, Sonic has like an actual combat moveset that really works well to his general speed and his general style of gameplay. Like, combat is really fun in this game. It's super fun, and it just adds so much more to the gameplay. It just adds more variety. Just that one change. Sonic Team didn't, and like, going into Sonic Frontiers, you would think Sonic Team has just kind of like abandoned the boost gameplay formula. They haven't actually. Boost-style Sonic stages actually appear in the form of cyberspace challenges, and honestly, this is like the best iteration of Boost Sonic, because a lot of these levels aren't designed to be like, you know, winding with like a million different, you know, branching pathways and a lot of bullshit. Like, they're very tightly paced, they're very fast, platforming challenges that really test your speed, accuracy, your skill, your reflexes. It really encourages you to get better at the game, and it's just they're really fun, and they're really effective pace breakers to just kind of like break up the monotony of the open world segments. I really like I really like their inclusion here. It's really fun, and oh my god, the story. The story of this game is so far really, really good. So the writer of this game is Ian Flynn, and Ian Flynn actually comes from a fan comic background. He did this comic called Other M back in the early 2000s, no relation to the Metroid game.
Sure.
And Other M was a very popular fan comic in the early 2000s that was kind of considered the gold standard of what Sonic should be in a comic book format. Because it really delved deep into existing Sonic lore and expanded upon the characters and the setting in really interesting and unique ways. Ian Flynn was brought onto the Sonic the Hedgehog Archie comics after Ken Penders was booted off the comic. And he pretty much created the he basically, what's the word I'm looking for? He codified the identity of Archie Sonic for like the final 7-8 years of its run, and Ian Flynn's Archie comics are really, really good. But there were certain elements of Ian Flynn's comics that were still kind of like hamstrung by the things that Ken Penders wrote into the story, in the years prior. So he had to follow up on certain elements of that. But the most recent IDW run from 2017 onward is entirely something of Ian Flynn's creation. Sega brought him back because, they really liked him. And Ian Flynn has just been, from what I understand, I haven't read the comics myself, but so many of my friends have. So many of my, Twitter mutuals have, and everybody agrees. Ian Flynn's run on the IDW comics, just banger after banger. He knocks it out of the park. So it makes sense that following the very, very negative reception to the writing of Sonic Forces and the very mixed response to Sonic Forces in general, they brought Ian Flynn on to do the story writing for Sonic Frontiers, and God, he breathes so much more life into these characters than we've seen in over a decade. Like, the last time a Sonic game actually had a story that was worth a damn was probably Sonic and the Black Knight, and that was like 2010.
Yeah.
And the last time a decent Sonic game had a decent story was Sonic Unleashed, and that was 2008. So it's been a while. But no, yeah. Sonic Frontiers has such a great story. It has such a reverence for the series and for the characters, and also just for the lore in general. This game makes a lot of references to previous games, and it's done in a way that doesn't feel like, hey, remember this? It's more like it's connecting tissue that brings the story of Sonic Frontiers in line with the rest of the series and makes it feel more like a unified world and unified storyline rather than, a bunch of disparate elements across, dozens of different games. Like, there's references to, like, Dark Gaia from Sonic Unleashed. There's references to the Black Arms from Shadow the Hedgehog. There's references to Sonic Lost World. There's references to Sonic Adventure 1 and 2. There's references to Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Like, it goes across the entire franchise. There's references to, like, fucking Sonic Riders. There's literally one part where Sonic likens a particular stage to, like, Babylon Garden, and he's just like, I wonder what Jet the Hawk is up to. Which is just such a great moment that really showcases how Ian Flynn is trying to make the Sonic franchise, the Sonic games, feel more like a cohesive universe. And the character writing. God, the character writing in this game is really good. One of my favorite moments, okay, fuck, there's a lot to talk about here, but, like, I'll keep it down to, like, 2 or 3 things. So, The game starts off. The first thing that really sticks out is the writing between Sonic and Amy. Now, you're aware that I really like Amy Rose as a character, but I've always had issues with how she's been written over the years.
Which seems like an oxymoronic statement to me, but okay.
I like Amy conceptually, and there are instances where Amy is really well written and is a really good character, but it's just there's an inconsistency to how she's been portrayed. Some writers portray her differently than others. And there's always been this issue with how certain writers write Sonic around Amy, the worst of which being Sonic basically being all, ew, cooties around her, which just, please don't. Sonic Frontiers does a great job of not only writing Sonic and Amy as really good friends who might have more of a affinity for each other than they would like to admit, but it's very understated. But they also do a real... But, like, there's this one line. There are these things that you can get called egg logs, which is just Eggman doing audio logs of him being trapped in cyberspace. And one of the egg logs is him kind of thinking about Amy and, you know, the kind of relationship she has with Sonic and her development over time. And he explains, it's just like, he actually brings up, Eggman brings attention to the fact that, yeah, Amy's been kind of inconsistent, but I guess when you spend your entire life around somebody as fast and as impulsive as Sonic, it's very hard to self-reflect. So it actually explains Amy's inconsistent characterization over the years. In just like
oddly perceptive, that Eggman.
Like one offline, and it completely fixes all of the writing issues Amy's had over the years. It's fucking great. It's so good. And another element that I really like is on the third world, on the third island, Tails, like, for every island you have to rescue a different friend of Sonic's. And on the third island you have to rescue Tails. Now, Tails I won't say is nearly as inconsistent as Amy is, but he does have a level of inconsistency. Sometimes he's kind of like the little brother hanger-on character, other times he's like a very intelligent, kind of like equal to Sonic in terms of the actual story. And the story of the third island and Tails' entire character arc in this game revolves around the idea that he believes himself to either be ineffectual or inconsistent in terms of helping Sonic with basically everything that, you know, he helps Sonic with. Being a good friend, being a good ally, being a good hero. And it delves into Tails' insecurities about the whole thing and just the long-running deep friendship that Tails and Sonic have had over the years. And it's just such solid fucking character writing, and it really shows a level of attention to detail and a level of reverence for these characters that hasn't really been seen in the games in a long time, if ever. Not to this degree, anyway.
Sure.
And there's a new character in the game, Sage, and God, I can't talk a whole lot about Sage without spoiling the ever-loving fuck out of her, but she is a great character and easily the emotional core of the game. There's a scene on the third island that, like, it kind of got to me a little bit. Like, I got a little emotional watching it. It's really good. But no, yeah, I'm having a great time with Sonic Frontiers. I really like this game. I need to finish it. I'm probably going to finish it over the weekend, or probably by Monday or Tuesday, but it's really good. It's really fun. It's got some issues. It's got a couple of rough spots, but I can really overlook them because the general experience is very positive for me. It's a really good step forward for the series, for a franchise that has kind of been spinning its wheels for about 15 years now. I'm glad that the design and the writing of the games is finally moving forward in a way that is very satisfying and can really be used to take the series forward in a meaningful direction. This is a really good baseline. So yeah, Sonic Frontiers is really, really good. Yeah, that's more or less what I've been up to. Fucking love Sonic Frontiers. Anything else you've been up to? Video games? Oh, wait, sorry.
Yeah.
I forgot.
Oh.
My bad. Movies. Watched a couple of movies.
Movies!
So, a couple weeks ago, you and I on the Bakagaijin Discord server, you can join in the link provided below, we watched the Karate Kid remake, a movie that both you and I already really like, but, you know, it was just nice to revisit that one. Man, remember when we could make movies?
Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah. God, I really fucking love that movie. Mr. Han is such a great fucking character.
Yeah.
Yeah. That movie is interesting because I feel like that's the movie where people in North America realized, wait, shit, Jackie Chan's an actor. He's not just a funny man who can do cool stunts. Because like there wasn't, because like up until that point there wasn't really like a high profile English language movie that Jackie Chan was a part of that really delved into his dramatic acting, and Karate Kid was like the first movie that really let him be a dramatic character, and I think it worked really well for him. I really love that remake because it does a really good job of taking the bones of the original Karate Kid story and kind of expanding itself into its own thing. I'd argue the remake is better in some regards to the original. The original is a fun, cheesy 80s action movie. The 2010 remake is a good martial arts movie.
Yeah.
And that's a very clear distinction because the original movie has martial arts in it, but it's not really a movie that has an understanding of martial arts, if that makes any sense.
It does.
It's very cartoony, it's very Hollywood, it's very, you know, exaggerated, you know, just for the sake of having a, you know, easy to follow story. The Karate Kid remake, which really should be called the Kung Fu Kid, understands the history and the mentality of Kung Fu more so to a degree than I think a lot of people were expecting it to going in, but just a lot of moments like Dre and Han going through the Great Wall of China and seeing like the origins of Kung Fu really shows a reverence and an attention to detail for what makes Kung Fu you know, a great art in and of itself. And one of my favorite scenes that really showcases this is actually the jacket on, jacket off scene. Because, like, they do a really smart job with the rule of threes here, because there are three major scenes where, you know, Dre comes into Mr. Han's house, starts training, and is just like, put on your jacket, take off your jacket, fall on the floor, pick up your jacket, put on your jacket.
Yeah, we have to watch him jack it off for a long time.
Phrasing.
Yep. He jacks it off for hours.
For hours! Until finally, like, Dre is ready to quit because he doesn't understand. It's not really getting through to him what this has to do with Kung Fu. Until Mr. Han's like, okay, take off your jacket. And then he actually starts doing the movements with him to show how the movements he's using with the jacket correspond to actual Kung Fu. Sure. It's just such a great moment. That's just a beautiful payoff. Like, it takes its time with that particular plot thread, but the payoff is well worth it.
Oh, yeah.
God, I fucking love it. Last Saturday, on Charme Cry's server, this month, Charme Cry is doing what she calls Robo-Vember, which is just a bunch of movies themed after like giant robots and shit. And the first movie that she showed was Bumblebee. Now, Charlotte is not a fan of Transformers. The only Transformers thing she has ever seen is the 1986 movie, and she hated it.
Yeah.
But she wanted to give the franchise another fair shake, and she picked up Bumblebee on Blu-ray at her local Winn-Dixie because it was $5, and why the fuck not? So, for the first time in the entirety of Gangweed Galleon history, we managed to actually hit the limit on the number of people in a streaming chat, which is 25. And yeah, watching Bumblebee again was just so good. I love that movie so much. It kind of is just a rehash of Iron Giant in a lot of ways, but that's not necessarily a bad thing, because Iron Giant's a really good movie. One of my mutuals called it mid Iron Giant, but to be fair, it's comparing an 8 out of 10 movie to a 10 out of 10 movie, with Iron Giant being the 10 out of 10. So it kind of is what it is. But no, yeah, Charlotte loved that movie, so she's looking forward to getting into more Transformers stuff after that. Everyone has recommended her Transformers animated, and honestly, that's probably the next best step.
Yeah.
My preference is for Transformers Prime, but I will admit animated is probably the more consistently good show, and yeah, probably watch animated after that. But on this last Monday, and unfortunately you weren't here for that, like, I think you were just sleeping, me, Sheridan, and Cube the Third all watched Clerks for the most recent...
I was awake, my internet was out.
Oh, right, that's right. Which sucks, because Clerks is really good. It's a really funny movie. It's just kind of guys being dudes, and I mean that in the best way possible. It's just a really funny movie. It's a really enjoyable film. Watching that with the crew was just a lot of fun. And hey, this Monday we're watching Dogma, so that's another Kevin Smith movie that we're going to be watching. There we go.
Somehow that happened.
Yeah, just randomly we managed to spin the next Kevin Smith movie that was on the list. That was
suspicious.
The laws of the universe have coalesced and dictated that we watch Dogma next. So that's next on the list, I guess. No, yeah, that's a really good movie. So anyway, that's what I've been doing. I'm good now. What else have you been doing? I'm good. Nothing else.
I can talk now?
You can talk now. I'm good.
Oh, yay. Hooray for talking. Big fan of it. I do it every day. Yeah, I've been doing other things. I've been playing more Cyberpunk. I'm nearing the end. I'm basically at right before the point of no return for the main story.
Yeah.
And at this point, I'm just sort of like deciding which side stuff I want to do now and which side stuff I want to save for another playthrough later. So I'm just kind of figuring that out. But I'm nearing the end, and I'll probably end up adding it to the curb soon.
Nice.
I like it. I like it. I'll probably go into more detail about it some other time when I have my thoughts more together, because my thoughts are positive yet complicated. I'm waiting for, in a few days, Ruby Aerofel's coming out. I'm probably gonna get that.
Yes.
I have bought other Metroidvanias in the past few months that I do want to finish. It's just they've annoyed me. Hawk, I got very far into Hawk, but I got to a point in Hawk where I sort of just lost track of the objective, and I'm just running around. I have no idea what I'm doing. I asked the Metroidvania subreddit, and somebody linked me. Somebody gave me advice. And they're like, "Oh yeah, I found out where those were from this website." Then they didn't link the website, and I forgot to respond to them. And then, literally a month later, they got back to me like, "Oh, I forgot to link the website. Here's the website."
Oh my god.
I still haven't looked at the website, but I just thought that was funny that they remember that they didn't do that
a month later.
Uh-huh.
Bruh.
It's like, damn, I don't even think about Reddit posts I made a month ago. But anyway, I appreciate it. Still haven't looked at it, but I appreciate it. And then I've played like an hour and a half of Haiku the Robot. I should like this game, but for some reason I don't, and I think it's a death of 1,000 cuts of a tiny little bullshit things that annoy me about it.
Yeah.
Hitbox things, timing things, why is everything so goddamn expensive? Why is this path like that? Like, it's a lot of little. Generally, I should like it, but there's just a lot of little things. I know he's planning a big update soon.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll address some of these things. I don't know. I couldn't really get into it. It was just too cheap and bullshitty for me. I was almost getting super epic flashbacks, so that's not a great sign. No super epic.
Oh.
Not. Oh, how I wanted to love you.
Super epic turned out to not be very super epic.
Yeah, that game annoys the shit out of me. The funny thing, it's like subtle though. It's like it doesn't really start annoying the shit out of you until like 10 hours in, and then you're like, wait a minute, this is fucking bullshit. All of it is bullshit.
It takes its time to really show its true colors.
Yeah, it's like the fucking Hitman Reborn of video games. Yeah.
Oh god. Yep.
Yeah. I bought Gaijin again on PC recently and installed some mods. Modded Gaijin is a ton of fun.
Yeah.
There's some problems I'm having though. Just technically, crashing at the end of runs is the big one.
Yeah.
Not crashing, but freezing up at the end of runs and becoming locked up. I don't know what's causing that. I got to look into that.
Yeah, I was having I was having an issue with Sonic Frontiers for a bit, where every time I closed the game out, it would just like freeze my computer, and I had to like hard reset it.
Yeah.
Switching from full screen to borderless full screen fixed it though.
Yeah. No, this is literally just like something I don't know what it is. I'll go figure that out. And then I'm having another issue where at random certain game objects will just show up in grayscale for no reason.
Yeah, I did notice that when you were streaming that the other night.
Yeah, I don't know what's causing that either, so this problem is to be fixed.
It's weird.
But it is fun. Yeah, fucking something else comes out later this month. Evil West comes out later this month. I'll probably wait for reviews for that. But everything I've seen so far looks fucking fun as shit, so I probably might end up getting that. I don't know.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, more gaming in the future. Future gaming.
Dude, I could be gaming.
I could be gaming. In fact, fuck this. Fuck it. I'm gonna.
No, wait, no, come back.
But I want a game.
No, we have to do a podcast. We have a podcast.
I want to play video games.
After the podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm probably gonna do some. I'm gonna do some research into a new fucking chair to get.
Yeah.
This chair's been annoying me for a long time. It's contributing to my lack of writing output, and I want it fixed, but I don't. I gotta do some research on that.
Yeah. Speaking of chair, I believe this happened before the last episode that we record, or yeah, this happened like after the last episode we recorded.
No, this happened. Yeah, you brought it up in the Ruby video. If you bring it up again, I will smack you.
Yeah, you already know.
Everybody knows. In fact, and people who don't know, they might have just assumed you have been sitting in a chair this whole time.
Yeah, listen to this.
They were. Yeah.
Chair noises.
Night. Yep. Yep. So that tells you everything you need to know.
Yep.
Yep. So yeah.
Honestly, I've been doing a lot more gaming because of this. It's great.
I've noticed all the gaming.
Yep.
The gaming has not gone unnoticed by me. It has in fact been noticed by me.
Excellent. That is great.
Anyway, that's going to do it for this first segment because I got to use the bathroom.
That's fair
for
enough.
no other reason. Yep. We'll see you in the next segment. Stay tuned to the Bakagaijinshow. We're back, y'all!
Hey!
Distorting the audio levels for no reason!
Oh yeah, baby!
And then we're going to talk really quietly because we want to create a dynamic range.
Yep. This is the full range of the Bakagaijinshow.
Welcome back to NPR Radio. Today we'll be looking at Finnish flute. No, it's the Bakagaijinshow. You know what you came here for. You came here first to talk about anime.
Yep, anime. We talked about anime earlier. We're going to talk about anime again.
Yes, because in case you missed the memo from our long history of sporadically talking about anime, we are in fact an anime podcast, allegedly, ostensibly.
Ostensibly. I was about to say.
I'm going to go through the R anime things tagged as discussions, and we're going to discuss the discussions, and they're going to discuss the discussions, and we're going to discuss their discussions, and you're going to discuss our discussions. It's just going to be discussion all around.
At this point, it's just a discourse.
Don't get started. Why do some mangas get anime adaptations or remakes years after publication has ended? I really like Top Comment, where they're just like, who and what determines a production committee? What's the logic behind it? Making money in some way or form.
Yep. A lot of
yes.
There's a lot of reasons, but like a very good reason comes down to whether or not there's a new audience for it and whether or not it really could use a new adaptation. Hunter x Hunter and like really good examples of anime that really needed a new adaptation to be closer to the manga and actually adapt more material are stuff like Hunter x Hunter, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, the upcoming Rurouni Kenshin anime. Because like the biggest issue with those anime is like with Full Metal Alchemist, Shaman King as well. A lot of these anime either didn't get far enough into the original manga, and like it's been so long that like doing a new anime in that same anime continuity would just like it wouldn't work. Or they deviated from the manga after a point, and like it got to the point where it's like you can't reconcile the manga story with what the anime did.
I will say, talking more realistically in money man terms, another common reason why these things happen, specifically in the case of Shaman King, is because Shaman King went from being Shueisha to Kodansha.
Yeah.
And it's the sequel to the sequel series is starting to run it was running in a different magazine, and so Kodansha had an incentive to get people's eyes on that magazine. It was like the headline, Superstar was like heading up a different new magazine. So they had incentive to get people's eyes on that, but they also did I believe announce a Flowers anime, so they needed to remake the original to get like anime audiences caught up with that, to make the Flowers anime that they want to promote their more recent manga. So that was the reason they did that in that case, is because they had brand incentive. They were still doing shit with it.
Yeah.
that's also the people think it's people say it's weird, and it is kind of weird that it took so long, but that's the reason why JoJo got an anime when it did, is because it was still a thing that was happening that they could draw eyes to, and
Yeah.
now they've made one heap and heck of a brand out of it, you know.
Yeah, the interesting thing with JoJo is that probably the bigger incentive was that there was just a market outside of Japan that was completely untapped. So an anime was actually a really good way to actually penetrate into those markets more easily. And damn, did that work?
That was very successful. But also, I feel like there was just an opportunity to make the brand. There was a branding opportunity that had been, even in Japan, kind of neglected for a long time.
Yeah.
As his output slowed down, but they were like, well, you know, why not, you know? And that's why they sort of tested the waters with that initial like first 26 episode season, you know. It was sort of like water testing, as a bit. But then when that turned out to be a success, they sort of fully committed to it later on.
Yeah, I think adapting parts one and like adapting the manga from the beginning was the best move that they could have made, honestly.
Yeah.
Because, like, it's very easy to... Because, like, it would have been easy just to adapt Stardust Crusaders again, but then you would have run into the issue of, well, we already have the 1993 OVA, so what's the reason for having this, you know, new adaptation?
To do it in full.
But, yeah, but, like...
Yeah. But the groundwork's good.
Yeah, it would have run into the issue of, like, perception among an audience, as well as the fact that Part 3 is, like... Again, part 3 of a long-running story that has 2 other parts building up to it.
And also, they probably liked the first 2 parts anyway, so it's like, you know, why not?
Yeah.
But but then the initiative really exploded when they adapted part 3 in full, because part 3 is so iconic, integral to how Shonen Jump developed at that time. Part 3 is easily the most iconic in that sense, so that's kind of when it exploded. And there was not only an old audience that grew up with it, but there was also a new audience who was getting exposed to one of the more iconic runs from 90s or late 80s, early 90s Shonen Jump.
Yeah, it's very easy to forget, but like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure was one of the first of its kind in terms of like battle shonen. There are like 5 Shonen Jump battle manga that ran during the 80s that kind of codified the entire genre. Kinnikuman, Dragon Ball, Fist of the North Star, Saint Seiya, and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Yeah. So like it's very easy to forget, but like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure was near the beginning of that entire initiative.
Yeah. So As for other things, it comes down to some kind of financial incentive, either, they have something they want to do with the brand, sometimes it's to promote new projects, sometimes it's to get people's attention in a certain direction in terms of like a new magazine or something of the nature. It's usually something like that, where it's like it's a brand relaunch, and that's like a strategic thing companies do every so often. Well, they'll reach back into the catalog and go, okay, what has waned from popular what has waned from pop culture that we can bring back for a new audience? What's a proven thing that we can do again? That's why most remakes happen, is because they're like, well, this worked before, and now time has passed, so we have both people who are nostalgic for it, and we've also got a fresh new audience who's never seen it before. So it's just one of those things that makes good business sense. And sometimes they suck, and sometimes they are better than the original, and things turn out the way they will. But like, I don't have a problem with the process, because I think more good comes of it than bad. And some ideas are worth revisiting and recontextualizing.
Yeah.
So there's that. I have no input on this one, but I want to read it because it might trigger you, and I live for that.
Oh,
I think it's a fun thing. It's a fun hobby of mine. Discussion post: Haruhi Suzumiya is a horrible person who has everyone around her held hostage.
Okay.
YN.
That's kind of the point, actually.
Okay.
Haruhi is not a good person at the beginning of the series. No, but that's kind of the point. She's a fundamentally selfish, self-centered, and socially isolated human being. She's always been the weird kid, and that's isolated her from everybody else, so she is retaliated by just kind of operating within her own little world, both figuratively and in many cases literally, even though in the literal sense she doesn't actually understand that. And the whole point of Haruhi's character is that she has a slow character growth over the course of the series. Slow, I need to point out. The anime doesn't really have the most... The anime isn't really able to get to the meat of her character growth, but it does have a lot of really good beats, such as in the Sai of Haruhi Suzumiya, her learning how to respect, her fellow SOS Brigade members a lot more as people instead of just like playthings for her to, have fun with, and so on and so forth. That's kind of the point. She's not supposed to be a likable or a good person at the beginning of the series. That's the entire point. So congratulations for having some level of media literacy.
All right then. This person asks, why is Mob not as popular as One Punch Man? I would actually argue that Mob is more popular now.
I would agree with that. One Punch Man was really popular back when it came out.
Yeah.
And a lot of that was just down to the fact that it was down to a number of factors. It had the remake manga by Yusuke Murata, as well as a really good first season anime adaptation. But as the story of One Punch Man went on, a lot of people started to notice One Punch Man was kind of a one-trick pony in terms of storytelling.
I called it like 8 episodes in. I'm like, this is just the same joke over and over again.
Yeah. Now, that's not to say that One Punch Man is necessarily bad, but it doesn't have the level of nuance and character growth that Mob Psycho 100 has.
Yeah. I don't get this. I don't even get this one person's perspective. I don't know how you'd think that nobody talks about hardly anyone really talks about One Punch Man anymore. Everyone talks about Mob.
Yeah.
To an annoying degree.
Another element was that One Punch Man had a very mixed reception on its second season due to a change in staff and studio that a lot of people believe resulted in a less impressive product overall. Comparatively, Mob Psycho 100 has had a very consistent production with every single season, and that consistency and that level of another element is just that between seasons 1 and 2 of One Punch Man, there was a massive 5-6 year gap, whereas Mob Psycho 100 comes out a little bit more consistently every 2 to 3 years. So there's just Mob Psycho is able to penetrate more into public consciousness, as well as just being a better told story overall. It's very clear that One Punch Man was something that one did as just a gag manga, but Mob Psycho 100 is the manga that he's really putting all of his effort into as his magnum opus.
Yeah.
I think that's just how things have shaken out over the years. It used to be that Mob Psycho 100 was the less popular little brother, but as things have gone on, I think Mob Psycho has overtaken One Punch Man in popularity.
Right. Quick, what are your top 5 anime intro songs?
Oh, fuck! Shit! Oh, God, okay.
Lightning round!
King of the Braves Gao Gaigar, that's one of them. Another one would be Sore Iro Days from Gurren Lagann.
Yep.
What's another really good one? Just something I listen to a lot. Honestly,
You got 2.
Yeah, I got two.
Not unreasonable. I think off the top of your head, you could name 5.
Oh yeah, no, off the top of my head, I can absolutely name 5.
You don't have to commit to this for all time. Just off the top of your head, what are your top 5 right now? What are you feeling? What are you feeling?
I've always like Departure from Hunter x Hunter. I love Departure.
Yep. Yep.
Hot take: Departure is a good song. Fight me.
Yeah.
Oh God, there was one. Io Tori Modose from Fist of the North Star. And number 5, I would probably say is just rifling through my top anime here in my head. Daybreak's Bell from Gundam 00.
Oh.
I like a lot of mecha openings.
Yeah, I've noticed.
Mecha anime
now.
have good fucking openings, man.
Yeah, I noticed just now that, yeah. All right, for me, top 5. This is no particular order. It's just as they come to me. Obviously, my favorite anime opening of all time for all fucking time is Hishoku no Sora from the first season of Shakugan no Shana.
That's a great one. That's a great one.
Yep.
Shana in general has just like amazing openings.
That's true. Yeah, honestly, my top 5 could literally just be all things from Shana. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna limit it 1 per series.
Yeah.
But yeah, I literally could. But no, Hishoku no Sora is everything an anime opening could be. It's literally perfect. Other things, I'm gonna scroll through my mail, just to get a sense, because sometimes I have my own internal list of what I think is like the most iconic, but that's not the same as my favorite.
Yeah.
Those are like different lists. I will say another one I think is absolute triple S tier. I don't forgive me because I don't always know what songs are called. The opening to the 2006 Higurashi.
Oh yeah, I love that one. That's a great one.
Yeah, that's definitely in my top 5.
I'm stupid. Sub out Daybreak's Bell for Eternal Blaze from Nanoha A's. There we go. That's better.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, so I would that whatever the original Higurashi opening is called.
Yeah.
That's up there. I'm gonna say weird pick just to counter you, the 99 Hunter x Hunter opening, the first one, Ohio.
Ohio was really good. I really like that one.
It's very different from everything else probably on my list, but I really like it.
Also, I'm not sure how much of a hot take this is. I really like the last Greed Island OVA opening.
Yes, that one's great.
That one's really catchy.
Yeah, that one's fantastic. It's the best thing about the Great Island OVAs. Let's see here. I need a third one. I think it's for Refrain. I'm gonna go with the Refrain version of Boys Bee from Little Buster's Refrain.
That's really good.
Yep.
The Little Buster's anime opening is also really good, but that's just kind of an offshoot of the visual novel opening, so it's a little bit, it's kind of cheating.
Yeah. I forget what it's called. The opening to Future Diary.
That's a good one.
Yeah. And I need one more here.
Honestly, I could also cheat with Clannad, but again, that's an offshoot of the visual novel opening.
Yeah.
Technically speaking, I could list Clannad After Stories opening, because that's more of an original composition, but it's also based off of it's also based off of a background theme from the visual novel, so again, kind of cheating.
Yeah.
The thing is, I really wanted to list one.
Right. And Believe, the first opening for Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5.
Yeah.
Off the top of my head, that would be like probably all 5 of those would probably be in my upper pantheon.
I really like the first Duel Monsters opening myself. That's a really good one.
Yeah, they're all good. All right, back to Reddit.
Okay.
Where did I put that? What are some anime that which unfairly got backlash due to their second season or sequel?
Second season or sequel?
Unnecessary backlash.
That's a very good question.
Yes, that does happen. There's a lot of justified examples, like
There are justified examples,
like Promised Neverland, or some might argue One Punch Man.
One Punch Man still, like, even if you did like the story, the production was just a step down.
I'm not. You know what? It's not hated, I don't think, but something I think gets a lot of unnecessary derision is Chunibyo Ren. I really like Chunibyo Ren. I think it's really telling that 90% of the criticism of Chunibyo Ren is they didn't kiss at the end, and I'm like, well, first of all, the movie exists now, so we fixed that problem.
Yeah, it's a non-issue now.
But also, if your main complaint about a season is the last 25 seconds of it, then it's like, I mean, no, Chunibyo Ren's great.
Yeah. Opinion on it has like kind of shifted over time, but I still feel that like there's a significant stigma around the second season of Haruhi Suzumiya just because of Endless 8.
That seems pretty justified to me. I don't know, man.
I don't know. My opinion on Endless 8 has shifted over time myself. So, and besides, we have Disappearance after that, so like it's fine.
Oh, you know what? People are unnecessarily harsh on season 2 of Danmachi.
Yes.
But having actually read those novels, I don't quite get it. Like, I actually think it was adapted fairly plainly, which might be people's problem, but like you can't really blame them for just doing what's on the page.
Yeah.
I will say the animation isn't as good as season 1 or the seasons that came later. It's a little rough. It was in that period of time, but like plot wise, like like I don't think there's that much difference from the source material. So I don't.
Right.
Yeah.
What are some of the Reddit comments on this one?
Right. Hold on. I gotta actually open that one.
I'm just curious what other people's opinions are.
Somebody says Tokyo Ghoul. Well, I'll tell you. Well, Rude isn't as bad as the things that came later. I'll give you that much.
Okay.
Rude is still not great, but like I guess it's watchable. You know.
Yeah.
If you're not going to partake. If you're not going to partake in later seasons, which you absolutely shouldn't, and you're not going to read the manga, I guess Route A is a conclusion. But yeah, I mean, is it overhated though? No, I think it's disliked about as much as it. I will say Route A has inherited a lot of hate from the re-seasons that were just actually awful.
Yeah.
So I will say maybe it's a tiny bit overhated because it. But the anime as a whole is a mess. So even the first season was not a great adaptation. It was super crammed. So is it overhated? Maybe a little bit, but I feel like it's still hated for good reason.
Yeah. Like I think that one's justifiable.
Yeah. Somebody says Darker Than Black. I have no opinion on that.
No opinion on that.
Somebody says Rurouni Kenshin.
You need to elaborate on that one.
He said Rurouni Kenshin, but it was the third season that imploded, all filler after an epic season 2.
Yeah. Okay. First off, it's not really quote unquote seasons. It was a long runner. That doesn't really count. But
yeah, they might be just talking about how some streaming service lists it or something.
Yeah. The last few arcs are just like. It's the Naruto it's the Rurouni Kenshin equivalent of the Naruto Year of the Filler. It's just a bunch of just bad filler arcs that just get worse and worse the further on you go. And that's part of the reason why we're getting a remake.
Yes. Somebody says SAO Fairy Dance Arc. That's still season 1. I get what you're saying, but that's still season 1.
Yep.
No, Fairy Dance is definitely overhated though.
It is. I like Fairy Dance. Fairy Dance is good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Um.
Suguha good.
Yes. Okay. Somebody says Psychopath season 2. I agree, but not because I think Psychopath season 2 is better than people think. I think it's because Psychopath season 1 is worse than people think. I've always been of the opinion that Psychopaths was cool popcorn thriller from the beginning.
Yeah.
So the fact that season 2 went harder in that direction didn't really faze me because I'm like, yep, that's what it was.
Yep.
Don't at me with your arguments. I've read them all. Yeah, like I don't hold the first season in such esteem that I was disappointed by the direction of the second.
Yeah.
The second season does suffer a little bit because Ubukata was not allowed to write things that contradicted the upcoming movie script at the time.
Right.
So the whole thing does feel in some regards inconsequential, but they kind of reincorporate a lot of that later, so it ended up kind of not being as inconsequential as it seemed at the time. So yeah, I would definitely say Psychopath season 2 is overhated though, so yeah, I agree with that one. Yeah. Let's see here. How to know if a scene is CGI or not? Use the magical devices known as eyes.
Yep. I feel like you can tell pretty easily. Even if there's like 2D drawovers, it's got like a specific look to it.
What shows don't need to be remade?
Plenty.
Okay, he says, after finishing the original Urusei Yatsura, I was excited for the new adaptation, but I've been largely let down. It isn't that it's bad per se, it's just that at least so far it's a retread of the original adaptation with updated visuals. That said, it's missing a lot of the add-ons from the original animation, OSTs, slower, heartwarming episodes that stick with you longer than they should, and that got me thinking why they bothered to remake a masterpiece in the first place.
It's closer to the manga.
Yeah, it's really, yeah.
Also, it's not designed to be a replacement for the original. It's really just supposed to be like a celebration of Urusei Yatsura. It was originally supposed to be like the original branding for the remake was actually Urusei Yatsura All Stars, and the reason why is because it cherry picks well regarded and well received stories from the manga to tell in a constricted time frame.
Yeah, I feel like I've thought about this before, where it's like the more interesting question to me is asking what should be remade, but the problem is a lot of the times what I would want out of a remake is something truer to text. Either something truer to text or something that fixes the text. Yeah. That usually requires more episodes, not fewer. And that's just not the direction the industry is heading at this point. So
I actually have one example of an anime that I would love to get like a full-on TV remake, but I know is probably not going to happen just due to the
lay it out
of it.
Spit it.
It's Fist of the North Star. And the reason why
I mean I could see it.
Yeah. So like I've been reading the manga because rereading the manga because I read it back in the day. I've been rereading the manga, and my introduction to the franchise was through the anime adaptation, and rereading the manga really showcases how different the two mediums of the story are. Especially during like the first volume. Like I want to point out the first volume of Fist of the North Star, which is like I think like 10, 13 chapters, was adapted into like 23 episodes of the anime and had a fuckload of filler added. A lot of it which was very ridiculous, over the top, and honestly kind of diminished the serialized nature of the story just into like a goofy bad guy of the week plot, which was never Buron-san and Tetsuo Hara's intention. But probably the biggest element of the manga that I think the original 80s anime completely misunderstands is Kenshiro's character. It's not to the point where it's like Ken is a different character. It's not to the point where, like, you know, Ken is unrecognizable, but he's a different enough character to where the manga and anime have a very clear divide in how they handle his character. Mainly because the manga has Ken be a lot more openly emotive and emotional. If you go to the TV Tropes page for Manly Tears, there is a panel from the manga, which is the example image. And that's because that is a common thing that Ken does in the manga. Like, he is a very emotional person by nature. The reason why he is, you know, going around and trying to right the wrongs of this, you know, post-apocalyptic world is because he sees all of this torture and suffering happen, and it tears him up inside, and he wants to right these wrongs. So, you know, it comes across as more of like this very, you know, human, just reasoning in the manga, whereas the anime kind of sands it down and makes it look like he's just kind of a stoic, you know, badass kind of character, which is still cool, but it doesn't have the depth that the manga version of the character does. So that's a really good reason why I want a remake of Fist of the North Star, because I feel a really good remake could recontextualize people's, like, public perception of Ken as a character. Because in the manga, he's really good and he's really interesting, and the anime kind of sands him down a bit.
Yeah. Why don't you think it'll happen? I feel like it could happen.
The biggest issue is that Fist of the North Star is a longer-running series that has 3 major story sagas. There's the Hokuto Brothers saga, the Kaio saga, and the Land of Ashura saga. Only one of those is considered well-received by most people, and that's the Hokuto Brothers saga. The Kaio saga is a bit more mixed, because that's the point where it starts to get into a lot more, like, spiritual fantasy energy attacks and shit, kind of similar to Dragon Ball Z. And Land of Ashura is just bad.
But that thing you list, the brothers comes first, right? So why wouldn't they just do that?
You could simply just do an adaptation of... honestly, I feel like... Okay, yeah, that's a good point. I feel like a really good adaptation.
Yeah, like
of
if the bad arcs came first, I might understand your point. But if it's just on its own, it's like,
yeah, it's a good point.
Happen.
Yeah, I feel like a really good, like... I feel like you could adapt the initial Hokuto Brothers saga into a fairly briskly paced, like, 40 to 43 episode anime.
Yeah. So that feels like a thing that could happen at some point.
Yeah, I really want a remake of that, like, personally.
Yeah. Somebody asks, I love this thread, whatever happened to Kugamiya, Kobayashi, and Sawashiro? And everyone's like, what the fuck are you talking about? They're still doing things.
They're still doing shit. What are you talking about?
They're still doing things. So here's a list of all the things they've done in the past 3 years.
Jesse, what the fuck are you talking about?
Just because you might just not be watching the things that they're in, but, like, you know, yeah. I kind of get what they're saying, though, because they don't play leads as much anymore. Yeah. Like, Rie Kugamiya doesn't play, like, lead characters as much as she used to. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. You know, makes way for new talent, you know. As, you know, and sometimes as actors age, they're more appropriate for some roles more than others, you know.
Yeah.
Just, you know, it is what it is. I thought I had one lined up, but I didn't.
Oh no!
I lost it. Where'd it go?
Where did it go? Where the fuck did it go?
Since when did you start to join the anime community, and what anime did you start off? I think they mean off. Out the womb. No, like, it was really young. I was like, I mean, if you want to be really hyper technical, it was just Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh, and it was like 4 or 5.
Yeah, you know? I've
then I just never stopped.
Yeah, it's been about the same with me. Like, I started off watching you know, reruns of fucking Superbook and the Flying House on TBN, and then I watched Digimon on Fox Kids.
What the fuck is that?
Those are anime that were created by Tatsunoko Productions back in the 1980s as a collaboration with the Christian Broadcasting Network.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. How much blackface was in those?
None, actually. Surprisingly, very few black people in the Bible.
That might be a separate issue. But, yeah.
But no, yeah, I started watching reruns of that, and then like a year later, I watched Digimon on Fox Kids, and I just kind of like, again, I went on from there. I sought out Pokemon afterwards, even though my mom didn't want me to. That's a complicated situation. You know, kids from my school brought over like uncut VHS tapes of Dragon Ball Z movies, and like the first two Dragon Ball Z things I saw were Lord Slug and Broly the Legendary Super Saiyan.
Yeah.
I watched Zoids, watched a variety of things that aired on Cartoon Network. It just I just kind of like grabbed onto whatever was on TV that was available to me at the time.
Yeah.
And then in 2007-ish, I started seeking out. Actually, no, it was more like 2007, 2008. I started watching Anna Monday on Sci-Fi with stuff like Gundam 00, Gurren Lagann, Monster, a couple other shows that were airing at the time, as well as like older movies, like movies and OVAs like Macross Plus.
Yeah.
But the point where I really started like delving deep into anime was when I was on an anime forum for like Star Fox, because I was a big Star Fox fan as a kid. And people started recommending me stuff like Lucky Star and Haruhi Suzumiya, and that stuff wasn't on TV, so I sought it out, I looked it up online, I checked it out, really liked what I saw, and that was just kind of like me beginning to just branch out and look for other things that weren't mainstream available, I guess. Yeah. Basically me looking outside the box from that point onward.
Yeah, as for me, let me see if I can recapitulate my journey here. Pretty similar. I was when I was a young kid, like 4, 5, 6, really into Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh, part of the whole explosion. As the years went on, I when I was around 9, 10, 11-ish, that's when I would get into things like Naruto and Dragon Ball when they were on TV.
Yeah.
I think also Yu Yu Hakusho maybe.
Yeah, I had a Naruto kick for about a year and a half.
Yeah, my grandma would buy me some like scattered DVDs. That's how I saw like scattered VHS and DVDs. Like she had some of the Harmony Gold Dragon Ball tapes.
Damn.
Yeah. And I remember like
it might not have been Harmony Gold. I think that was like Kidmark or something from like the mid 90s. Because like I don't think the Harmony Gold dub ever got a proper VHS release, but I know that the mid 90s dub by BLT Productions was released by Kidmark. So it might have been that one.
Whatever one had the fucking whatever that one was.
Right. No, that might have been that was the later Funimation dub.
Oh, was it on VHS?
Yeah.
They put those on VHSs?
They did, yeah. They released the edited Toonami version on VHS.
Wait, no. Actually, no, I'm forgetting. So what happened a lot of the time is that she'd have like scattered, she'd just like see it and pick it up or whatever. So sometimes they'd be like scattered volumes or whatever. Like I remember I had the first DVD of Full Metal Alchemist 2003.
Yeah.
But then like I wouldn't ask for more DVDs or anything. I just go online and find them like a good pirate.
Yeah.
I think that's probably what happened with Dragon Ball as well. The whatever was on the tapes is not what I ended up watching long term. I think I probably saw a different dub, but then when I looked it up online, I probably saw the Funimation dub.
Okay. Yeah, what probably happened is that you probably had an old VHS from the Kidmark era from like the mid 90s. Because that one has an opening that's like, Dragon Ball, gotta find
Right.
that Dragon
Right.
Ball.
Yes. That's the one.
Yeah. Okay. Got that cleared up.
Find them all, the 7 magic balls.
Yeah, that's the one. Yep. Goku.
Gotta find 'em
He's
all
gonna
to make
show
a
you.
move.
That's the one. Yes, that's the one. Whatever that was, Kid Mark.
Yeah, that's Kid Mark. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the one we had VHS tapes of.
Nice.
Yeah, so it was a lot of that, and then as stuff aired on, I got into a lot of stuff from Adult Swim, obviously, or Toonami/Adult Swim. It was whatever. The big ones at that time that I got into were like Death Note and Code Geass.
Yeah, I didn't watch Death Note when that aired on Adult Swim because it just like didn't interest me, but I did watch Code Geass.
What a mistake that was.
God. I mean, I eventually watched Death Note.
Imagine not watching Death Note. Mistake.
Yep.
Yeah. So that was a hodgepodge of things. What got me into fan subs was towards the end of the original Yu-Gi-Oh! DMs run in America, I found I went through the story on Twitter recently because it was relevant to some thread. There's a site called ugio.net. It's like u-geo.net.
Yeah.
It's a site that does a very good in-depth job at chronicling every single change made between the original Japanese version and the 4Kids dub. Every visual change, every dialogue change, everything like that. That was one of the sites I followed a lot as a kid as he was updating it.
Yeah.
Because I was so fascinated by that. That's he no longer update. He hasn't updated that site in a long time, obviously, but it's still up. He's basically, he made a post in like 2015 or something where he's just like, so I got nothing more to say here. As long as I can afford hosting, I'll just keep the site up as like a archive or whatever. So you can still go there. It's an interesting time relic. And it's the most comprehensive breakdown of differences I've ever seen. He wasn't interested in the sequel series, so he never covered those. But I was. So after seeing how thoroughly butchered 4Kids did with that, the first time I ever sought out fan subs was for Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. I remember that.
Yeah. So my exposure to fan subs was a little different. So the first time I found out that like what I was watching on TV was significantly more edited than what was originally coming out of Japan was with One Piece. I've told this story before, but it's a very interesting story anyway. So like I was a fan of the 4Kids dub of One Piece for a while, and like oh how naive I was.
Yeah.
I just thought it was a funny pirate show, but like I liked it. I thought it was kind of I thought it was fun. I thought it was interesting. Like I watched like reruns on Cartoon Network and shit. And mind you, this was like I want to say like 2005, 2006. Yeah, it was 2005. And one day, like we were off doing something over at the hospital. I think my sibling needed a checkup or something, and we were going to be stuck in the waiting room for like 3 hours, and my mom knew, oh god, Kevin is going to be absolutely bored senseless, and he is going to be bugging me the entire time. I need to get him something to occupy his time because I forgot my Game Boy Advance. And so Mom took us over to Barnes & Noble, and I decided to go over to the comics section, and I found a bunch of manga. And one of the manga I've ended up finding 2 manga, Mega Man NT Warrior and One Piece. So Mom bought me the first volume of both. The first one that I read was Mega Man NT Warrior, and while that was a little bit darker than the TV anime, it wasn't that much different. Like, it was still very clearly a kid's manga. I opened up One Piece, and the first thing I saw was Luffy stabbing himself in the face as a kid.
Nice.
And then, like, a few pages later, all the characters are, like, cussing each other out, and one of the Shanks pirates, like, shoots a guy in the head, and blood just, like, spurts out, and I'm like, oh, shit. Mom doesn't know that this is way different from the show. Oh, God. But I kept...
Now somebody from Scotland's trying to get in my Discord account. I really got to get two-factor on, because some people are trying to hack into my Discord account.
Weird.
This is like the third time in like the last 2 weeks someone from some random country has tried to hack a Discord account.
The Scots are trying to get you, man. But yeah, like I like as I read through the first volume of One Piece, I was like, this is so much different from what I'm used to with One Piece, because like
Sure.
it was violent, it had like a lot of profanity, it was darker, it had like this kind of grit to it that I wasn't used to, but at the same time I thought it was cool as fuck. So like after I went home, I decided to look online to see what all was changed between the Japanese and English versions of One Piece, and reading through everything I was like, oh my god, I've been watching garbage. But like at that time I had no way of actually like experiencing the original Japanese version, because I didn't know fan subs exist. Also my internet was fucking terrible at the time. Hello dial-up. It wasn't until a few years later, after we moved to my uncle's we moved to Arizona a few years later, and we spent about a week at my uncle's place. And while I was there, I, was allowed to go upstairs on his computer and just kind of like surf the internet however I wanted. Zero supervision, which is, great for a kid. I'm not complaining. And my sibling Sama, they found there was another 4-Kids show that we watched called Mew Mew Power, which we found out was based on a show called Tokyo Mew Mew. And Sama couldn't find any of the English dub episodes on YouTube at the time, but they were able to find a few Japanese subtitled episodes, like fan subs.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
And that was actually my first exposure to fan subs, was Tokyo Mew Mew.
Okay.
Like,
okay. Thank you for hijacking my backstory with your backstory.
Okay, go ahead.
I forget where I even was.
Yu-Gi-Oh!
Right, yeah, no, yeah, my first, the first time I really sought out fan subs was Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. And then I did it for other things, like, sometimes it was spurned by the fact that dubs were not getting finished. A good case of that in, like, the late 2000s, was, Viz stopped dubbing Mare halfway through.
Yeah.
So I had to go for fan subs for that. There were probably some other cases of that, I don't know. So it was kind of a gradual expanding of interests, as new things were brought to my attention, and I'd find stuff online. I will say the big weeb explosion with me didn't really happen probably until like 2010-ish, 2010-ish, when Crunchyroll started becoming a thing.
Yeah.
Which made just made stuff a lot easier to find, obviously. And I would say it wasn't until about 2012 where I was really watching, like, I was keeping up with seasons. Like, at that point I had a firm idea of what, the core system was.
Yeah.
And I was like actually keeping up with anime seasonally. And I have more or less just kept up. I've obviously gone back. It was around that time, around 2010-ish, where like I basically went on a 2010 to 2013-ish was kind of just like binging kind of everything I hadn't seen up to that point, or everything that was new and coming out.
Yep.
And then after 2013 I just kind of kept up seasonally, and for the first few years I was ridiculously hard on it. I think I've made this joke several times before, but like, you can pick almost anything that aired in 2014 and I probably saw it.
Yeah.
At least a few episodes of it. So like for like 2014, 2015 I went super hard on it, and then I chilled out in like 2016 onwards. I remember 2017 was kind of the year where not a lot was happening in anime, so I didn't watch a whole lot at that point, and then I kept up again after that. So like, I've mostly just been keeping up with the seasonal stuff since then, and occasionally going back to things I've missed.
Yeah.
So yeah, but as far as like my journey goes, like, kind of a gradual expansion of interest through the 2000s, and then it just kind of exploded around the beginning of the 2010s, when stuff was generally more available and easier to find. And I got involved with people who could recommend me things, like I had a friend who was really into Shauna, and that's why I watched Shauna in like 2013. You know, and I have a lot of little stories like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, with
But that's a go.
with like watching seasonal anime from 2008 to 2009 was basically just me watching a bunch of like older shows that was like in the backlog of things like, oh, if you're getting into anime, you should really watch, you know, this show or this show, and I just kind of like picked and chose whatever which show that I wanted to watch. And then in 2009, the new season of Haruhi Suzumiya aired, which I had already seen season 1, so I decided to watch that as it aired. Boy, that was interesting. That put me off watching seasonal anime until 2010, when I saw both Madoka Magica and Ori-Imo as they aired. And from 2011 on, or sorry, 2010 was Ori-Imo, 2011 was Madoka. But from that point onward, I was just like watching seasonal anime like basically every season. I had kind of like a hard limit of 6 shows per season though, just so that I didn't like overwhelm myself, which
and now it's even lower.
Now it's even lower. I'm building myself back up.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. You're good at binging stuff. I've noticed you're really bad at keeping seasonal things.
Yeah.
But that's enough of that.
Okay.
We've talked about anime for so long. We're not just an anime podcast. We're also a random relationship drama podcast. And in that vein, let's go to the Reddit dive.
Ooh boy. Let's see what we got today.
Now, I got to scroll down very far because we haven't had a proper show in a while, so I've saved up a lot of things. Let's see here. What? Such a smorgasbord. What can I even start with? All right. Am I the asshole?
Good.
Am I the asshole for bringing my wheelchair-bound boyfriend to my brother's no +1 wedding?
Fucking wedding drama, right?
She's female 31, her brother's male 33, got married days ago. He and his now wife sent me an invitation and mentioned a no +1 rule, meaning I wasn't allowed to bring my wheelchair-bound boyfriend to 4 years with me. I tried to discuss an exception for this rule because 1, my boyfriend is family and no one would deny that fact, and 2, I could not find proper arrangements to have someone watch him. I'm his primary caregiver while I was gone. I brought him with me to the wedding. My brother and his bride were livid and picked up an argument with me about it. My brother said some hurtful stuff, but I was glad he didn't say it in front of my boyfriend. I told him it's not like my boyfriend was making a fuss or being distracting. He just remained quiet and respectful of everyone around him. My brother argued that none of that matters and that the trust and respect he had for me was gone the minute I decided to stomp on his wedding boundaries and override the rules. My parents understood my side, but also said it was my brother's wedding and I should have respected the rule he had for non-official couples. We've not talked since the wedding. I tried calling him, but he kept hanging up on me. His wife texted me yesterday to stop calling. Am I the asshole? It's not like I brought a hyperactive child to his wedding. I think he might have overreacted, but I'm not sure.
Yes, how dare you take a person in a wheelchair to a wedding when there's nobody to help look after him when you are his primary caregiver. How dare you? You're a horrible person and need to be shot and hung. Like, what the this just
Reddit says YTA, not only did you go against the rules, you attempted to use your boyfriend's disability to get your way. You should be ashamed. This is the correct answer. The disability card being played here is entirely irrelevant. No +1, you took a +1. She even dropped that in her post several times, trying to use his disability to guilt people into agreeing with her. Too bad it had the opposite effect. You don't respect others. You everyone an apology, including your boyfriend, for using him as a prop.
I don't know if that's how that comes off to me, though.
It's also just like, can your boyfriend really not take care of himself for one day?
Yeah.
Like, does he have other problems? If he's just in a wheel, plenty of people in wheelchairs live alone.
I mean, that's,
you know,
I guess.
Unless he's got other problems you're not mentioning, but I can't make assumptions about that.
Yeah.
Well, it's all, I'm of two minds about this, because on the one hand, you were explicitly told not to bring anyone, and you did, and that's kind of a douche move. But on the other hand, you do have a point that it's not like he was causing problems.
Yeah.
You know, but it's a potential domino effect, though, right? Because if you bring a +1, other people might be like, well, why wasn't I allowed to bring a +1?
Yeah,
and maybe,
that's a good point.
Now you're making them deal with other people being like, well, why could they bring a +1? When you told me I couldn't bring a +1. So it's like, you are potentially making a hard time for them on their wedding by, you know, inciting that in like a sort of a domino effect way, even if you don't mean to. So I do think I do think they are the asshole because they broke a rule without telling them. At the very least, it should have been explained beforehand and not just.
Yeah, that's fair.
It should have been discussed beforehand and not just showed up with the guy.
Yeah, at the very least,
what
the OP could have done was like call ahead and explain the situation. Like, if you literally could not like leave your boyfriend alone and there was no one else to help him, then you could have arranged something as like an exception. But kind of showing up on the day and just like throwing a wrench in the works was kind of a dick move. I'll admit that.
Yeah. So I think you are the asshole because number one, did your boyfriend really need to come? Can he not take care of himself for one afternoon? You know, that's the first thing. I'm dubious that he even needed to come in the first place. 2, you were told not to do something and you did it. And number 3, you could have greatly inconvenienced them on their wedding by opening a can of worms where everyone starts harassing them about the plus ones they weren't allowed to bring. Which is not a great nobody wants to deal with shit like that on their wedding. So yeah, I think OP is the asshole in the situation.
Fair enough.
Perhaps I do admit that perhaps they're having an overreaction to it, but at the same time, maybe they were harangued by other guests because they couldn't bring plus ones. You know, maybe the scenario I laid out actually did happen, and that's why they're so pissed about it. So I can't judge whether they had an overreaction or not, but I do think OP is the asshole.
Okay, fair enough.
Judgment assured. Given. You have been judged. I've judged you.
We have doled out judgment against you.
Mm-hmm.
The council has found that you are the asshole.
Yep. Let's see here.
May God have mercy on your soul.
Sure. Alright, I'll send you one in a sec. Here you go.
Alright. Am I the asshole for punishing my daughter for making us all worried?
No, that's vague. Make it unvague.
My wife and I have a son, 17M, together. 16 years ago, I was drunk and slept with another woman, which resulted in another child, 16F. My wife forgave me, but she made it clear that she doesn't want to be anywhere near my daughter. I have my
that's great. It's the daughter. It was the daughter's fault, clearly. She should have stopped herself from being born.
I have my daughter every other weekend, and my wife would just go to her parents' home every time she is with me. A few days ago, we were going out with my extended family, and my daughter was also invited, but her mom wasn't invited. She asked me if I could give her a ride, and I said yes, but when my wife found out, she said that while she doesn't have a problem with my daughter being there, she doesn't want her to come with us. So you have a problem with her being there?
No. She's saying she doesn't have a problem if she just happens to be there when they arrive, but she doesn't want to do the trip with her.
Right. I tried to change her mind, but I couldn't, so I asked both my brothers if either of them would bring my daughter with them. They both said yes, so I called my daughter and told her I have some problem, and asked her to come with one of her uncles, and she said it's okay. Well, we went there, and both my brothers came, and my daughter wasn't with either one of them. They both said that my daughter told them she is going with the other one. I called her and her mom and all her friends, but no one knew where she is, so everyone just left to search for her, and after a few hours, my son found her. I was so mad, I yelled at her and told her how she made us all worried. I took away her car that I bought for her as a punishment. Yeah.
Keep reading.
Her mom has been calling me, saying that I'm an asshole and demanding I give her the car back. Just to clarify, she didn't drive there because it had a dangerous road, and she is not a good driver, so I told her she is not allowed to drive there. You're the asshole, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're a fucking asshole. Top comment. YTA, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I get that your wife is upset with your cheating, but she is putting all her anger and hurt feelings onto your daughter. You have 2 children, and if your wife can't see that, then you both should end this relationship. Your daughter deserves to have her dad in her life as much as your son does. If your son is allowed to come with you to an event, then so should your daughter. And if you want to support your wife and can't stick up for your child, then she is better off without you. OP wanted stability so much he just decided, sure, I'll treat my kid as an inconvenience. Thanks for the forgiveness. Gross.
Yeah.
So.
But there was an edit!
Yeah, edit. Okay, everyone, I got it. I'm the asshole. I gave her the car back. It seems like everyone thought I was taking the car forever. I wasn't. It was just supposed to be for a month. That's still bad, dude! She didn't... Oh my god. I tried to talk with her, but she doesn't want to talk. No kidding. However, she talked to my son, and he told me she was very upset and didn't come because she thought I didn't want her there, and you didn't exactly give her a reason to think that you wanted her there. And the reason she didn't tell us where she was going was, as I guessed, to ruin my day and make me angry. Yeah, because you're trying to ruin her day, too. You're neglecting your child. I called her and apologized and told her we are going out again and promised that she'll come with me this time, and she seemed happy about it. I also had a conversation with my wife and told her that as much as I wanted her to come with us, if she can't be in the same car as my daughter, then she needs to find someone else to give her a ride. She left to her parents' home, and I'm not sure what she is going to do. Of course she left to her fucking parents' home.
The real fucking problem here is the wife.
The wife is the real issue here. The wife is just throwing a wrench in the works because, like, she is taking the entire situation of him having a child with another woman.
You've had fucking
all the
16...
fuck wrong.
She's had 16 fucking years to get over this.
Yeah, if you're not over it by this point, just fucking leave. Leave the relationship, woman. One of you fucking leave. God.
Yeah, But yeah, YTA.
Yeah, YTA, you handled this
Your
all
wife's-
the fuck wrong.
Yeah. Your wife's the bigger asshole, but you're still kind of an asshole.
Yeah, it does. Your wife being worse doesn't absolve you from your assholery.
Yeah. Let's see here.
You prioritized your selfish, self-centered wife over the welfare and well-being of your own child. I'm sorry. You're an asshole.
Well, let's see where this one goes. Medium Tifu.
Ooh.
Today I fucked up by utterly failing at intimacy, NSFW.
Oh god. Oh, sex tifus are always the most interesting.
I, 26M, am dating a trans woman about my age.
Ooh, interesting.
She's wonderful, kind, and quite beautiful. I'm lucky to have her, especially after what I did this past Sunday night.
Oh dear.
It had been a stressful weekend, and I had just arrived home from an out-of-state wedding. I was quite tired at this point, and all I wanted to do was go back and head over to my girlfriend's place and have a memorable night together. My roommate had made dinner and saw that I was stressed out, so she gave me a glass of wine to help take the edge off. By the end of the meal, I was quite full and calmed down a bit. Feeling better, I left for my girlfriend's place shortly after eating. Before eating would have been weird. I arrive and she opens the door to an open bathrobe. I'm immediately in the mood. We start making out and I have her pressed against the back of her sofa. Sexual tension is in the air and things are getting steamy. I pull her hips toward me and press in to kiss her more. And this is where everything goes horribly, horribly wrong! I was hoping that she would catch my physics cues and arch her back, so I didn't tell her what I wanted. Note, still fully clothed with a hard metal belt buckle sitting right above her crotch, which was sitting just above the back edge of the sofa. What happened was that as I pressed against her, she lost her balance on the back of the sofa and fell backwards. She's a pre-op trans, so when she fell backwards, her balls snacked between my buckle and the hard back of the sofa as her weight carried her backwards. She described this as if someone closed a book on them and yanked.
Oh.
She screams and I'm absolutely mortified. I immediately grab some ice and hand it to her before stripping and removing any potential hazards from my person for the rest of the night. I go to her on the sofa and sit, cradling her head in my lap, apologizing. She was extremely good-humored about it, and even though she was in agony, she was laughing it off and telling me it's okay, she's just gonna need a solid minute, and wouldn't be able to move for a while, so we sit together. If you thought this was over, you are tragically mistaken, because it gets worse.
Oh no.
As I'm sitting there trying to comfort her, I was positioned on the sofa such that my hips were angled away from me, and I was leaning over with my girlfriend, with her head in my lap. As I sit, I feel a fart come along.
Oh no.
Powerless to stop it, my sphincter was perfectly positioned for there to be no resistance, and not enough time to reorient myself to hold it in. I looked down at my girlfriend and say, "I am so sorry," and I released the toxin. The smell was atrocious. She immediately gags, and through tears of agony and laughter, she articulates her feelings about how I have effectively trapped her and am now suffocating her with the vile substance emanating from my ass crack. You would think that this would be enough, that surely I could not have made this worse, but you would be wrong. This situation was so bizarre, unpleasant, and embarrassing, my only response was to laugh, and to laugh really hard. So hard, in fact, that I choked with a full stomach, at which point I vomited wine all over her floor a few times. I cleaned it up right away. Just wanted to say that I have the best girlfriend ever. In spite of my stupidity and the awful nature of the situation, we ended up having a great night together and still a happy couple. But this story is going down as my new, most embarrassing memory. I hope you all enjoyed our suffering.
Dude, your girlfriend's a fucking trooper. Oh my god. Just fucking rolled with that shit. Oh my god. That is a comedy of errors, and I am glad she recognized it.
I love the top comment. And then as I pulled out of her driveway, I accidentally ran over her cat. It's a good thing her grandmother's body cushioned most of the blow, otherwise Sprinkles wouldn't have made it. My trans girlfriend, who's totally awesome and great, was laughing hysterically between her tears for her grandmother's death. She forgave me, though. We then proceeded to have passionate, intense sex on the sofa as her stepsister walked in with us and joined. But first she said, "What are you doing, stepbro?" I love these comments. I'm with you on this. Then I found $20, which she had dropped, and that $20 name, Albert Einstein. I unfolded it and out popped the Nintendo GameCube. At which point, Danny DeVito walked in with a unicorn outfit.
Man, the comments are having way too much fun with this.
Yeah, they don't believe him at all.
Oh, that's funny though. Oh, God.
She is a pre-op trans. Well, not anymore. New bottom surgery just dropped.
Oh, that's fucking hilarious. Real or not, that's funny as hell.
Yep.
Okay. Give me a second. My fucking face hurts. God. Right. Am I the asshole? Okay. Got knighted here. Am I the asshole for returning my husband's birthday gift to pay for the birthday cake my daughter baked after he refused to pay her? What the fuck?
Do that again slower.
Am I the asshole for returning my husband's birthday gift to pay for the birthday cake my daughter baked after he refused to pay her?
Whose birthday is it?
Her husband's?
I don't know. Read the thing.
Basically the title.
Oh, that clears it up. Thanks.
My daughter, 16, has a thing for baking. She bakes cakes.
What is her gender?
My daughter, 16, has a thing for baking. She bakes cakes and some, I said not all, sweets, and makes money out of it by selling her works to relatives, friends, and supposedly us. Are you not her relative? What? Anyway, my husband's, her stepdad.
Wow! Imagine the grind. This girl's like, she charges her parents for her baking.
My husband's, her stepdad, 45th birthday took place days ago. He asked my daughter to bake him the birthday cake and she agreed. I told him about paying her, to which he responded with, "Pff, pay her? Get out of here. I'm her dad." I insisted that she's a yes person and a people's pleaser, so she won't outright demand money from him. He said he'd pay, but days went by and he didn't pay her a cent. I decided to go ahead and sell the wristwatch I bought him as a birthday as his birthday cake. Don't you mean birthday gift? And pay her for
No, he's eating the watch.
and pay her for her. He found out and went off.
Pay her for him. What the fuck is this?
Fucking, oh my god. He foubed out.
What? Oh, found. Sorry, yeah, the B key is really close to the N key. I understand.
Yeah. He foubed out and went off on me. I'm not reading that the correct way. Like, that's how it's typed.
Yep.
I told him he had enough time and should have paid her 7 before he received the cake.
Seven. Oh, even.
Okay.
Even. Either that or the cake was $7. I'm not sure.
He said that I was teaching her to treat familiar relationship as transactional and rating her to be materialistic. Don't you mean
Okay, to be
raising?
fair, she's. Are you? Because she's the one charging you.
What the fuck is happening, Zeke? I have no idea.
You're raising her to treat familiar relationships as transactional, but she started this by charging her parents for cake.
I explained
she made the decision to make this a transactional relationship.
Oh my god. I explained the time, effort, and even money she put towards making the cake, but he lashed out verbally, calling me an asshole.
An asshole.
For making,
an asshole.
An asshole for making this move and for enabling
Are
my
you the
daughter.
asshole?
And for enabling my daughter to expect so much from family that she's supposed to help with nothing in return. He's furious and told almost the whole family about how I took back his birthday gift and returned it. I got enough shame from family members to begin to think that I might be an asshole for how I dealt with this. Am I the asshole? Y'all, my daughter did want and expected to be paid. If she intended for it to be free, then I would have kept my mouth shut. And also the wristwatch isn't expensive. I kept the rest of the money after giving my daughter her share.
Hey, was the cake not part of her gift to him? It's his birthday, right? So like,
yeah,
was your daughter gonna charge him for a cake on his birthday? It's not like a random cake; it's a birthday cake.
Yeah,
What the? No!
This is so confusing and just infuriating to read.
Top comment, info. Did he think the cake was her gift to him? Who pays for the supplies? Did you pay for your own cake if she makes it? I find it strange you'd make him pay for his own birthday cake rather than pay for it yourself. Who asks someone to pay for their own birthday cake?
You're the asshole.
Edit, daughter doesn't pay for supplies. OP does. That makes it weirder.
Yeah, what the hell is happening?
Well, now you're just double paying her. What the fuck? You paid for the supplies that she uses she was going to charge your husband for a birthday cake with made from the ingredients you bought, so you sold your gift to him for money to pay her for cake she was making with ingredients you already bought.
Fuck you, OP!
What? What? Why? What? My brain hurts!
My brain trembles!
What the fuck? Why would you pay her twice to make his birthday cake? What the fuck? I was thinking the same thing. Couldn't the cake be the daughter's gift to him? And if not, why didn't OP just pay for the cake since she already did?
She already paid for the cake!
Paid for the ingredients for the cake, and now she wants to double dip for some reason.
What is happening?
I agree, it's sad neither kid nor wife will make or buy the husband a birthday cake. Very unloving and ungenerous of them. Even worse, to take back a gift to pawn for it. Well, we don't know the kid's opinions on the matter. She's just assuming that her daughter would charge him for the cake, for his birthday cake. But number one, it's his birthday. Number two, you already paid for the ingredients for the cake. You have already paid for the cake. Why are you paying twice? He's not the one
inferring transactional familiar relationships. You are.
I'm hurting.
You asshole.
Fuck.
I'm starting to think everyone but the husband is an asshole.
The
I don't know
husband's the only clean party.
But I don't know the kid's perspective because she's speaking for them. She's just assuming that they want to be paid, even though they were already technically paid. What the fuck? You're the asshole.
Yeah, you're the
I
asshole, OP. Fuck.
I wash my hands of this. I wash my hands of this confusing birthday cake debacle.
Oh my god. Read the next one. God.
Alright.
Trying to put more brain power into that entire fucking post is hurting me on the inside and making me lose brain cells actively.
Let's see here.
What the shit?
Another birthday one.
Oh fuck.
Am I the asshole for telling everyone it's not Andy's birthday? It's not Andy's birthday.
It's not Andy's birthday.
You know what day it is? Not Andy's birthday. It wasn't 10 days ago when this was posted, and it's not today.
You know whose birthday it is? Not Andy's.
Nope. If your name is Andy and it's your birthday, you are now invalid. It is now illegal for Andy to have a birthday on November 12th.
No. It is now illegal.
Anyway, user not your birthday says, my husband has a friend, Andy, who can't hold down a job, and there's always something wrong where he can't afford his rent. Andy is always asking for money or a loan he doesn't pay back. My husband gives it and gives it to him. I'm talking thousands of dollars over the last few years my husband has loaned him. A few months ago, I told my husband next time he gives Andy money, I'm gone. I'm out of there.
I'm out of here.
My husband was doing good until Andy shows up at our door last night and tells my husband everyone forgot his birthday. So they go out to drinks. I do some snooping on Facebook, and Andy's birthday isn't until next month. I screenshot a picture of my husband last year with him on Andy's real birthday in front of a Christmas tree. I go to the bar and show everyone that it's not Andy's birthday, and the room is dead silent. Andy said he put the wrong birthday on his Facebook account, so I showed him the picture last year with the date posted of his real birthday. Andy said it was a mistake, and everyone thinks December's date is right because it's on his Facebook. I asked Andy to show everyone his driver's license, and he said he forgot it. Oh, likely story. I asked the bartender if Andy could legally drink without proof of age, and the bartender said no. Andy refused to show his license, and left. He left twice for some reason. Okay. My husband said I was being a bitch for no reason, but I reminded him it's the first day of the month, and Andy always comes around looking for extra money. And we had an argument about Andy, and once again, my husband stayed with a friend, and I'm packing up my things because he acts like I'm the asshole for coming to the bar and publicly saying what I did.
What?
It's not Andy's birthday,
It's not
Kevin.
Andy's birthday.
Andy's birthday is next month. There's a Christmas tree in the background.
Hold on. There's something. Ah, here it is.
Every party needs a pooper, that's why they invited you. Party pooper.
Okay. Oh god. God, imagine you're just out having a drink with the boys and someone just knocks down the fucking. Imagine you're not even like a party here. Like you're just a random bystander at the bar, and this random lady comes in with just this piece of paper, and it's just like, everybody, it is not Andy's birthday today.
How good are any of these friends if none of them actually know Andy's birthday? I know some of my neighbors' birthdays.
Oh my god.
I don't give a fuck. I had cause to see him myself. This dude is actively swindling your husband and draining your finances. I don't care if there's personal finances or not. You're married. If one person is struggling financially or making dumb money decisions, all the finances suffer together, not just his. Then he's actively lying to everyone about his birthday to mooch free drinks and money. My question is, why the fuck are they mad at you when you exposed everyone they're getting scammed by someone they obviously care about? Who gives a fuck if it caused a scene at that point? Who cares if the man gets embarrassed? That should be the least he gets from stealing thousands of dollars from his friends.
Also, your boundaries get violated again and again. Your concerns ignored. At that point, yeah, it's scorched earth campaign. You tried to be calm and behind the doors about it at first. I'm baffled by the people saying she should have been nicer. Why did she have to? What did she have to gain? What didn't she have to gain from this? She exposed a scam artist, advocated for her concerns and warnings with proof, and found out her husband will choose his mooch friend over her. Incredibly gainful experience, in my opinion. You did not go overboard. You crashed a farce event and probably just saved everyone money and trouble. If he wants to choose his leech of a friend over you, by all means, leave his ass.
Yeah, not the asshole. Not the
Clearly,
asshole.
Clearly, her husband should just marry Andy. I mean, they were clearly meant for each other.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Hashtag
Maybe
gay
then
rights.
he'll remember his. Maybe next time he'll remember his birthday is next month.
Andy's birthday isn't until next month. Coming in with the fucking smoking gun.
That photo could have been taken at any time. Oh yeah? Well, why is there a Christmas tree in the background? This implies it was almost Christmas. Almost Christmas means it wasn't Christmas!
Andy's just sitting there in the bar having a drink with the boys, and then suddenly, why do I hear boss music?
Kicks down the door. It's not his birthday! This man is a fraud! I accuse thee of birthday fraud. The highest crime in the land. Behold your Facebook account.
God. Holy shit.
Andy was later apprehended for birthday crimes.
You committed crimes against Skyrim and her people. What say you in your defense? What the fuck? Jesus. I mean, this is just as crazy as the other birthday one, but at the very least, this one's just funny instead of infuriatingly stupid.
Yeah. Makes sense. Let's see here. Read this one.
Alrighty then. Am I the asshole for calling my fiancé delusional and not letting him punish my son? My fiancé, 40M, and I, 36F, have been together for 2 years. I have 3 kids from my former marriage, 7, 11, and 14. What are their genders?
This is impossible to judge at this point.
My fiancé loves them and treats them as his own, but he constantly complains about certain behaviors and says that the kids lack some forms of discipline. I never understood what he meant, but mind you, he's a teacher and can take this whole discipline thing a bit far. I noticed that he's been doing some tests lately to see how they'd act in certain situations. For example, he once left his journal lying around to see if any of my kids would snoop. He also would leave money lying around to see who'd touch it. Or even lie, saying, "Who wants Skittles?" to see if any of the kids would come to him downstairs.
Oh, one of my favorite hobbies, lying about Skittles.
The recent one, that I wasn't aware of until later, was yesterday. He told the kids that he lost a quote-unquote dollar from his pocket and offered $10 to whoever finds it. The kids began searching the house for an hour. My 7 and 11-year-olds couldn't find a thing, but my 14-year-old went to my fiancé and told him he found the dollar and gave it to him. My fiancé lost it and started yelling, "Ah, gotcha now!" My son was confused. Turns out my fiancé didn't lose any money and lied about the dollar to see how the kids would react. My son obviously had failed. Why did you spell it without an E? Because
I think they meant to put an apostrophe there, like conked.
He failed because he pretended to have found the dollar, but in reality he took it from his allowance and gave it to my fiancé, hoping to get that $10.
Stonks.
My fiancé said that because of my son's dishonesty and greed, he'll be punished by taking all of his allowance for the month, as well as electronics being taken away for a week. I got into an argument with him. This dude's fucking, oh god, wow.
Anyway.
This dude's on some next level shit. I got into an argument with him and called him delusional because those mind games were getting ridiculous, and besides, it's not like my son stole anything from him. He just failed his stupid test, and kids make mistakes and learn. He still talked about how this is about principles and that he's trying to teach my kids to become decent adults. But I thought this had gone too far. I refused to let him punish him now that he's calling me an enabler, and said that this attitude won't be of much help when we get married because it undermines his authority as a parent and enables unacceptable behaviors from my kids. He said, and I quote, "I will not tolerate having greedy and dishonest individuals live under my roof."
I want to read top comment because it's so funny.
Okay.
You're the asshole for allowing him to emotionally abuse your children.
Yep.
Got him.
Got him. Yeah.
I like it. YTA, this man is gaslighting the fuck out of your children. You need to get him the heck away from your vulnerable children. His mind games will damage them, and they're gonna blame you for his presence in their lives.
Yeah, this is. How far are you? Yeah, another one. How far are you going to let this abuse go? How long are your children going to have to be emotionally abused because of your choices in men? At this point, how you feel about him does not matter, but you should absolutely be feeling some rage, in my honest opinion. For your children's safety, this relationship needs to end. Now! He's probably the horrible teacher that all the students hate, and for good reason.
Oh, yeah. This sounds like a guy who became a teacher specifically because he wants to fuck with children.
Oh, yeah.
Not necessarily fuck children, but fuck with children.
Yeah, he he hates kids.
Yeah, he just wants to fuck with them.
Your son legitimately thought your fiancé had lost $1, and as a trusting child, he was told he'd get $10 for finding it. He didn't question why someone would give up $10 just for $1. He didn't say, "This man is always testing us somehow and I'm not participating," or ignore it. He went and sacrificed $1 of his own in the honest belief that it was just a missing dollar with a reward. He didn't even do anything wrong. I wonder how often your fiancé is emotionally manipulating and abusing you. It must be a lot for him to have broken you down to the point that you think this is okay. Get out and get help before it's too late. Yeah. Yeah, no, this is absolutely...
Everyone sucks here.
Yeah. This is...
Everyone sucks here. He's manipulating your children. You're letting him.
Yep. Just absolutely psychotic behavior, and I'm shocked that you have let this go on for as long as you have. Like, what the actual shit?
Let's see here. Speaking as a teacher myself, without having read the rest of your posts yet, I'm sitting here with a couple of red flags waving in my friend's face already. He's being baselessly and causelessly being manipulative. Got it. That last line has me very concerned for your fiance's students. As a teacher in this line of work, you tend to see adults divided into two camps. Those who are there for the kids and those who are not. Those who are there for the kids are the ones looking for the positives, giving kids opportunities to succeed, and setting them up to be as confident and successful as possible. The other ones, well, they assume exclusively negative intentions from kids. They try to trip them up on or trick them and constantly compete to be right. They get off on control and authority and have no real respect for the fact that their students are human beings. Your husband appears to be in the fiance, but your fiance appears to be in the second camp, which I really, really don't like. He's expecting, maybe reversely wanting your kids to fail and setting them up so they have virtually no choice but to meet that expectation every time. This abusive asshole either has to fix himself or go before he does real damage to your kids. Protect them, not the asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is like, yeah, some people specifically pick careers because they just want to fuck with children, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's very clear that your fiance is that kind of person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everyone sucks here.
Yeah, everyone sucks here. All y'all suck!
Mm-hmm. Let's see here. Who read that one?
That was me.
Okay, I'll read the next one.
Calling my fiance delusional.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Oh, another birthday one.
Ooh, fun.
Am I the asshole for having my daughter's first birthday the same day as my stepsister's wedding?
Huh. Okay.
My mom got remarried after my parents' divorce, and her new husband brought along my stepsister. I lived with my dad mostly because I didn't want anything to do with the new sibling, and had pretty much no relationship with her and hated that my mom treated her like a daughter. I wasn't the nicest to her, but I felt like she was taking my place. Fast forward to now, she's getting married, and I was not invited since we have no relationships whatsoever, but I didn't invite her to mine either, so whatever. This issue is I planned my daughter's first birthday when I told my mom that she said it can't be that day because it's my stepsister's wedding, and we should change it to the next weekend so people don't have to choose which to go to. I said no to my stepsister's wedding at 8 p.m. My daughter's party is at 1 p.m. People can do both, but almost everyone on my mom's side RSVP'd no to her birthday party because of the wedding and travel. Even my own mother said she can't make it because she'll be at my stepsister's wedding and getting ready all day. I'm pissed. How can she choose a stepdaughter over her own grandchild? Everyone is picking this girl who isn't even really family over my daughter. My mom says just to change the party, but I think it's ridiculous they can't do both and won't change my schedule for my stepsister. And my daughter will be the one who suffers when one of her family will be the one I suffer when one of her family is at her first birthday party. Oh shit, hold on. It goes deeper.
Oh, it does?
Top comment. I'm really hoping this comment stays top so everyone can read how truly heinous this goes beyond the she stole my mommy high school stunted growth vibes. Was there a comment here? There was a comment removed from moderator and OP replied, she is taking on the mother role in the wedding since stepsister's mother died giving birth to her, which I'm also not happy about. How dare she die?
Huh?
I want to point out this comment has negative 15,000 votes.
Oh, everybody hated that. Ooh.
And you, truly, really, at no point while writing this post stopped to think, maybe I'm not going to come out of this looking like the good guy here.
Oh my god. Read top comment. Read top comment.
Right. ETA comment text, since OP seems to have deleted it afterwards. She's taking on the mother role in the wedding since her stepsister's mother died giving birth to her, which I'm also not happy about. Your stepsister's mother died in childbirth, and OP is annoyed that her mom decided to be a mom to the kid who lost her one mom. What the fuck? Huge YTA. I also found this gem of a perspective from another Redditor that many seem to also agree with. Let's see here. What does this say? If it'll fucking load. It looks like you'll either have to move the party or don't expect a lot of people to show up. Why should I move my party for the wedding of someone I don't care about? It is your child's party. You're letting your kids suffer because you have an unhealthy grudge against your stepsister.
Yeah. Unhealthy and frankly psychotic. Like,
I'm worried for your daughter now.
I am. Poor kid. YAPOS, you are a piece of shit.
Jesus Christ. Let's see if there's anything else over here. Even without reading all this backstory, yes, you're the asshole. From the title alone, you're the asshole. First birthday parties are solely for the parents. The children have no fucking clue what's going on. They have no concept of what a birthday is.
Yeah.
Your daughter will not suffer because her family isn't present. Your daughter will have no idea what's going on, and no memory of her first birthday party. She has no concept of time, so rescheduling it to a different day is requested if it's so important for your family to attend. Your daughter will suffer as she gets older because you are petty and have unresolved issues that should be dealt with in counseling. Your daughter will suffer if you continue to attempt to weaponize her as an instrument of guilt in your war with your stepsister. Grow the fuck up.
Yep. People like OP infuriate me. Fucking hell. Gee, I wonder who's the asshole here, OP.
Could it be you? I think it was you.
Gee.
I think you're the asshole.
I think OP's the asshole.
Maybe a little bit of assholery going on, a little bit of douchebagginess. Anyway, here's one for you.
Am I the asshole for eating ice cream directly out of the tub? What? I'm currently... You're gonna have to... Okay, hold on. Clearing my buffer here. Am I the asshole for eating ice cream directly out of the tub? I'm currently staying with my in-laws. Before we came to visit my mother-in-law, Before he came to visit, my mother-in-law asked me what pregnancy cravings I was having because she wanted to make sure they had them for me. They had them for me. I mostly crave chocolate fudge brownie ice cream, and they bought a lot of it for me. I was eating it directly out of the tub since it never lasts more than 2 days max, and nobody else was eating it as far as I was aware. My mother-in-law's goddaughter had been here for a few days now too, and she saw me eating the ice cream from the tub and told me I was being gross because somebody else could have wanted some, and I should use a bowl instead of eating it directly from the tub. I told her I was going to eat it all anyway, and she accused me of being greedy. I started crying because we kept arguing over it, and she was making me feel awful. My husband saw me crying and was furious with her. My mother-in-law has been trying to smooth things over between everybody, but my husband is still angry at her, and she's still angry at me because she thinks I cried on purpose to make him angry at her. Am I the asshole?
Okay, here's the thing. Unless you know with absolute fucking certainty that you're just gonna eat the entire tub in one go, then yes, you're the asshole.
Yeah, grab a fucking bowl. It is not hard. It is basic fucking common courtesy.
Unless we're talking
get
about
a bowl.
unless we're talking about like those fucking like Haagen-Dazs cups that are like,
yeah,
you know, a lot, but like realistically like a portion if you just really want ice cream, you know, maybe. But if we're talking like a full-size tub, like, yeah, like fucking, if you're not eating it all at once, first of all, if you are eating it all at once, yeah, that is kind of a douchebag move. But if you yes, read top comment.
YTA, I will be in the minority here. I find it really confusing and insulting that pregnant women aren't expected to act like adults. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think we should be readily forgiven for not being considerate when we are growing a whole human in their body, but I don't think we get a pass from acting like considerate adults. You're putting your germs in a tub of ice cream. It's not that hard to use a bowl or spoon. Eat as much as you want, but give someone the option to have some if they want. You can't help the tears because your hormones are haywire, but you can just move on from this and use a bowl. It doesn't have to be a big deal. Yeah. This is just petty bullshit that got blown out of proportion because OP didn't feel like using a bowl.
Yep. Yeah.
I just... Yeah.
Y
I don't...
T A.
Yeah, I don't get people who just, like, give... look, I get it. Hormones, you're growing a whole ass human inside of you. I get it. I understand. But at the same time, you're an adult. Fucking act like it.
It's crazy that pregnant women act this way, and then they also act that way after they give birth.
Yeah.
It doesn't stop. Some people just
I
wanna be
created a whole human child. Pamper me and bend to my will.
Yeah, I think
Like-
God syndrome from giving birth is more common than people like to think about.
Excuse you, I have created life. Who is the real asshole here?
Yeah.
Still you. Like, come on.
I know you're the asshole. Fuck all that shit. It's time for a tale of nuclear revenge.
Yes.
She cheated on me, so I had a threesome with her former ex-boyfriend and the guy she cheated on me with. To clear up any confusion that might come up, you have to know that I am a bisexual man. I love sharing the story because I'm still proud of it. A few years ago, my ex-girlfriend cheated on me with another guy. She then had the audacity to tell me that if I was a grown-up, I could deal with it, and she hopes we can still be friends, but she lost any feelings for me, and she is fully in love with this new guy now. If she hadn't said that, I probably wouldn't have made this plan, but now I have to teach her a valuable lesson. I was in a depressed state for a long time, and couldn't bring myself to delete her number, and she thought I was her friend now, starting to send me pictures of her and her new boyfriend with laughing emojis. Didn't even care how much she had hurt me. But then, one day while I went through Tinder, I found someone who was quite familiar. Her new boyfriend.
Ooh.
Of course, I wouldn't tell her that her new boyfriend was on Tinder. In fact, I matched with him, which was quite surprising because I thought he was straight, and we started a conversation. He didn't even know who I was. She never told him she was in a relationship while she was flirting with him, but this was perfect. We had longer conversations. He told me more and more about him. Over the weeks, we learned more and more about each other, and now I had a plan. I suggested that we could meet each other at a bar. He agreed. Keep in mind, he was still in a relationship with my ex-girlfriend at that time. When we met, we had a great time, and one date became many dates. It took me a few months, but then I got him to the point where he developed feelings for me, and I was his affair. What he didn't know, I got into contact with my girlfriend's former ex-boyfriend as well.
Oh, God.
He broke up with her because he came out as gay. I was in contact with both guys. The ex-boyfriend and I got along very well. In fact, I made him a close friend of mine. In our conversations with my new boyfriend, we talked about sexual desires, and he told me he always wanted to have a threesome, so I suggested one with the gay ex-boyfriend. I knew that he was his type because we kind of looked alike, and he had feelings for me, so... I asked the gay ex-boyfriend if he wanted to become the third one, and to my surprise, he said yes. Honestly, still surprised how well all that worked out without her noticing, but it did. Then the day came, and so did I. The day came where I decided to go nuclear. The two men came to my apartment. I led them to the bedroom, and they started talking to each other. While they talked, I took a selfie from a safe distance, close enough that she could see their faces, but far enough that they wouldn't notice. And then the action started. Of course, I won't go into any detail, but damn, I enjoyed it more than anything in the world. A few days after this, I told him that now that I granted him the wish of a threesome, I wanted something in return. I told him that I don't want to be in an affair any longer, and told him that he should either break up with her, or I will break up with him. I knew this was hardcore manipulative, but I had a plan, and had the full control over him. He actually broke up with her, and threw her out. I even got him to move out of his apartment to move in with me, meaning that she lost both her home and her new boyfriend. But I wasn't done yet.
Oh, no.
Because after she texted me with crying emojis that her boyfriend dumped her and that she regrets leaving me, I then said, "Your boyfriend? Are you talking about this guy?" and sent her the selfie I took. She called and texted several times, but I ignored her. My plan was almost successful. There were only 3 things left I still had to do. Jesus fucking Christ.
Oh my God. This is fucking anime villain shit.
OP, you're a monster.
Oh my God.
The first was that I told her mother.
Yeah, bring the mother into it. Let's go.
Her mother, who hates infidelity more than anything because her father cheated on her mother with another woman. You could say, like father, like daughter. Her mother was angry, but thanked me for telling her. From what I've heard is that her mother cut ties with her, but admit that I don't know if that actually happened. I don't think that it happened, but it would be funny if it was true. The second thing I did was dumping him, because unfortunately for him, he was a cheater too, and I hated fidelity as well. The last thing I did was going out with the gay ex-boyfriend, and after a few dates we got together, and we're still a couple. In the end, I destroyed both her and the guy she cheated on me with, and couldn't be more proud of myself.
This dude did the relationship equivalent of walking away from an explosion without looking back. Good God.
I became a cheater to destroy the cheaters.
I have to applaud. I have to applaud. That is actually amazing. How you managed to orchestrate all of that.
Top comment, maybe Hallmark can make a holiday story out of this.
This could literally just be a movie. This is the plot of a movie waiting to happen. Please sell somebody the film rights.
I made my ex's boyfriend her ex-boyfriend by lying about wanting to be his boyfriend while not telling him I was his girlfriend's ex-boyfriend, and then I made my ex-girlfriend's ex-boyfriend my now boyfriend. We'll call it Cocked, Blocked, Locked. Or maybe a game of bones. I believe it? Kinda. Is it possible? Sure. Do I want it to be real? Yes. Yes, I do. Dude did not let her slide. Man really hit her with the Ebenezer Scrooge past, present, future. He really did fuck him to assert dominance.
Oh my god, that's incredible. OP, you're an asshole, but damn, I have to respect it.
Mm-hmm.
I have to respect the cojones on you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I like it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
Ugh. Kevin, for you, here's a little tiny itty bitty Tifu. Just
Okay. Itty bitty Tifu.
Don't read the edits, they ruin the flow.
I won't. Okay. Today I fucked up by sending 40,000 pairs of socks to my grandmom's house. Proof in comments, apologies for breaking rules earlier. So I run a non-profit for individuals in need of my in my community. Saw a company advertising that they give away one pair of socks to for every pair sold. I send an email and ask for as many as we can get. Shoot for the moon, right? They ask for an address. My brain panics and gives them the one I'm most primed to provide. My Grammy's, since she raised me and I know she has a double garage. So it's been about a week and I don't hear anything. Forget about it and move on. Until today when I get an email. They are donating 200 boxes of socks and they were shipped yesterday. So many conflicting emotions. On one hand, I'm so excited to receive a donation this big. We are a very small organization, so this is a big deal. On the other hand, I'm hoping my Grammy doesn't get barricaded into her house by boxes of socks. Currently waiting to see if there's any tracking info available so my friends and I can rent a U-Haul to move them all into storage. Of course, there's also rain coming in our area in the next few days. TLDR, asked for a donation for my community nonprofit and got more than I could have imagined. Didn't know until after they shipped them all to my grandmom's house.
And in the comments, he provides pictures. That is wow.
Oh, here we go. The first batch came tonight. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's quite a bit. Second batch. That's a lot more. ETA, Graham thinks this is hilarious. Phil, do you have any socks I can borrow? Not even one pair.
Not even a single pair. I'm sockless.
Your grandma's FedEx driver. Ugh, that's a lot more deliveries than usual. Wait, they're all for one house? Whew, finally done. Goes home, gets to work tomorrow. Granny's gonna die. Hey, Graham, remember when I was 7 I told you I hated getting socks for Christmas, but you got me some anyway? Yes?
Yeah.
Your day of reckoning is upon you. That could have been a petty revenge story, honestly.
Yep.
Yeah, no, that's comical. That's funny.
Medium Tifu. Today I fucked up by being a forgetful DoorDasher.
Oh dear.
I've been DoorDashing a bit as a hobby and to get some extra bucks in my pocket. Tonight was like any other night. Dark, kind of cold, boring. Tips were bad. That's what I get for being too poor to move out of a rural area. First of all, that's what the man wants you to think. Get an order for a pizza from the Hut. Get there. It's already done. Everything's going smooth. All I gotta do is drop it off at the customer's door, accept the gracious $2 I get paid for driving 8 miles. I pull into the apartment complex, reach over into the passenger seat for the pizza, just to realize it's not there. I'd forgotten it on the top of my car when I was unlocking it. I rush back to the Hut, hoping that it'll be laying there in the parking lot, untouched, even if it's upside down. I get just a block away from it when I see it. This poor, defenseless 14-inch pizza had been pummeled, squashed, murderized all over the main road by hungry metal hippos. I pull back into the parking lot of the Hut and message the customer. Apologized, explained the situation, telling her I'll call customer support and hopefully they'll refund her. She says they won't, which I said was dumb as fuck. Then I realized there was no way to cancel the order. I must go back to her complex and complete the delivery. For a second time, I pass by the crime scene, cheese and sauce coating the pavement. I sheepishly pull into the parking lot of this poor lady's complex, take a picture of her building. When dropping off at someone's doorstep, they require you to take a picture for completion of the order. Alas, I had no order to drop off, though. She then messaged me saying she'd reported me and that she knows I stole her precious bed of dough and sauce. I replied that, well, I definitely understand reporting me. I'm no liar. I gave her directions where she could scrape up her pizza, baby, and went on to my next dash. Gonna be a fun situation to deal with. TLDR, I forgot pizza on top of my car. Other cars squished it. Customer accused me of being a liar and a thief. Edit, to answer a few common questions. The reason I didn't call DoorDash support is honestly because I had no clue they fucking existed until people commented about it. There really isn't any training for this. I just probably skimmed over it, though. The reason I accepted a $2 order is because, again, I live in a rural area. Sometimes I'm waiting around for 4 hours just to make $8 for 2 orders.
Yeah.
If I don't accept it, maybe someone else will, and having something out of my bank account is better than nothing. As far as I can tell, it doesn't show where you'll be dropping off the orders until after you accept it. My acceptance rate is 98% because I've accepted every order except for one that glitched out the other night due to the app fucking up. Pizza Hut doesn't have delivery drivers here. We're a rural place, so everyone is spread out, and most people don't want to get paid $8.75 an hour to deal with being an employee at Pizza Hut. Hell, there's only one other person working in the entire building tonight. Don't worry, I'm not afraid of losing this job. I don't even do it that often. I'm not so desperate as needed to pay bills. Are those trying to make me out to be bad at this? I've got a 5-star rating. I mean, definitely won't have it now, but still. Just a hobby. I like to drive around. This is just a way to get the drive and get paid to do it. Bartleby, everyone. Bartleby. Whatever that means. Whatever that means. So, yeah, that's a
thing.
Yeah, that's a thing that happened to a person. Oh well.
Honestly, the socks were a bigger Tifu.
In a way.
Though I do like the wording of "scoop up your pizza, baby."
It's time for the lightning round.
Woo!
This is where we go to unpopular opinions and read some unpopular opinions. Do we agree or disagree? Are these opinions unpopular or are they unpopular? Let's find out.
All right.
Unpopular opinion: there's nothing wrong with Nick Cannon fathering as many kids as he wants with different mothers as long as he supports them. Sure, why not?
Yeah, sure.
Unpopular opinion: banks need to be open every weekday.
Are they usually not?
Oh, he's complaining about bank holidays.
Oh. Nah. It's whatever.
Well, I mean, you know. Unpopular opinion: we need to stop celebrating street art. Popular opinion: you need to stop being such a hard ass.
Don't be a narc, dude.
Nobody likes an orc. Unpopular opinion: I break my spaghetti, and you can't stop me.
Oh.
I break my spaghetti too, man.
Every Italian wants to know your location.
Well, yeah. First of all, I like it shorter, and secondly, I like it to fit in the pot.
Yeah, the big thing for me is that I have a small pot that I do all of my cooking in, so I kind of need to break it in half in order for it to just fit in the damn pot. I prefer it longer, but I just can't justify cooking it longer. Because I don't have a big stock pot to put it in.
Let's see. A popular opinion: I really don't like when people have pictures of themselves as their wallpaper. That is a little weird.
It is a little... Yeah, it's a little weird.
Yeah.
I just put anime girls on my wallpaper. The one that I have right now is Roll from Rock Band X Dive.
That would have been on my top 5 guesses.
Yep.
Unpopular opinion: allowing companies to go public was the worst thing to happen to humanity. I don't know if it's the worst, but it's up there.
Yep.
The whole the stockholder, the shareholder system is not a good system.
It's very bad. It's ruined more companies than I'd care to count.
Unpopular opinion: your outlook on life doesn't really matter. We didn't have to remind me about
Dude,
that.
bruh.
That's just, yeah. Well, I mean,
Damn
he's
it,
right.
I need to bring it up again. God damn it, I need to...
Everybody needs a pooper, that's why
Okay.
Unpopular opinion: being overly mad at someone for being late is more rude than actually being late. I think that depends on how late and the importance of the event in particular.
Yeah, it's very situational. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. It's dependent on a lot of different individual factors. Because, like, we've had a lot of different ITAs that we've read on this show from, you know, various different people. It's like, I was late to a party because of this reason, this reason, this reason. And whether or not someone is the asshole is entirely dependent on individual circumstance. The importance of the party, who the party is for, you know, what the reason you were late for is. Like, it's highly dependent on circumstance.
Yeah. Let's see here. Unpopular opinion: we don't actually care about holding celebrities accountable for their wrongdoings. We just want to see their lives fall apart. That's also fairly situational.
It is, yeah.
I mean, definitely, I think there's I mean, when you're talking about people that everyone knows, everyone is obviously going to have different takes on things
Yeah.
and have different motivations for feeling the ways that they do. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, you know, I think a little column A, a little bit of column B.
Yeah.
Man,
there are too many of these where I'm just like stuck in the middle of two extremes. Give me something where I can really give an opinion.
Unpopular opinion: coffee addiction shouldn't be so normalized.
Probably not.
I'm just gonna read this.
Okay.
From Daddy Issues Girl. I enjoy coffee, and I won't judge anyone who enjoys it and or prefers it, but seeing it everywhere and being so normalized everywhere makes me a bit frustrated. It's frustrating how normalized it's been to the point that if people had the chance, they would mention it with pride like it's a good thing. It's been so normalized and sometimes so romanticized. It's just not astonishing to see people say, "Oh, I just can't function without my morning coffee," or the classic, "Oh, sorry, I'm being rude and mean. I just haven't had my morning coffee," repeatedly. You would see coffee addict everywhere. I'm not trying to say it's a joke not to take to heart. Seeing people actually serious and going over the way because of the coffee or excusing their ass of a behavior over coffee is a bad thing. It's bad for you in many ways, and people showing it to younger people and younger audiences and showing them that it's okay to drink every day and every moment of their lives is a bad influence on them. But when someone who has a different addiction ever does it outside and your kids start saying, "Oh, they can't focus, they have mood swings," when they don't go take a smoke break, everyone starts saying how bad of an influence it is. They should go somewhere else or stop it. Coffee addicts do it all the time and everywhere. It's bad for you in many ways, but as always, addiction is very easy to introduce but hard to get rid of, like a fly going out of an open window bumps whatever. Coffee addiction should be seen as a bad thing and not a good, oh so funny, goofy characteristic thing that people can post by putting in a caption, "Making my coffee because without it, I can't function my day without it," or any videos a bit upsetting. This person really trained of consciousness writing to the point where they just miss connecting thoughts.
I get the gist of what they're saying, though. Honestly, the bigger issue there, and mind you, this is somebody who is a coffee drinker. I do drink coffee every morning. A lot of that bad behavior that people brush off because, "Oh, I can't function without my morning coffee," as someone who, quote unquote, can't function without his morning coffee, a lot of that is just trying to justify being a shit person with a bad attitude.
Yeah.
So, on one hand, I agree that coffee addiction should not be nearly as normalized as it is in media and in general society. But at the same time, a bigger issue here is people using coffee as an excuse to be a dick to people in the morning. Like, it doesn't take that much effort to be the barest bit pleasant to people around you before you have your coffee. I know I wake up in the morning and I might be a little cranky, but I'm not going to take it out on people. Like, come on.
Speaking more broadly, this doesn't apply to you in any way.
Yeah.
But speaking more broadly, I think part of the reason for this is, I think it's just a sign of how bad our priorities are as a society. That like, it's the work culture.
Yeah.
You know, it's people are so addicted to stimulants because they need to be stimulized because so much is expected of them. You know, people who have the time to actually get the sleep they need and to actually, you know, to rest when they're actually tired,
Yeah.
don't need these kinds of constant stimulants. But to keep up with the grind of modern work culture, this is, a lot of people find these sorts of things necessary.
Yep.
I don't necessarily blame them for that, because if they need it to get what they need to get done, then whatever. But I see it as a symptom of a greater issue with our work culture and what we are forced to prioritize as a society. I think a better society that had a healthier work-life balance and allowed people the rest they need and allowed people to, you know, make their own schedules and work when they are at their best for it, wouldn't have as big of a problem with caffeine addiction, because it's I just find it a symptom of that, and I think a lot less people would be drinking a lot less coffee if they were allowed to work less hours, basically.
Yeah.
So I see it as a symptom of a grander issue.
Yeah, I can agree there.
Anyway, that you don't have such an excuse though. You just have problems.
Yeah, I just have problems.
Yeah,
I'm a fucked up hombre.
Mm-hmm. Let's see here.
You know, take your time. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm not finding a lot of
Not any more good ones.
Yeah, I'm not finding a whole lot here. Let's see.
Go check our shower thoughts. Haven't checked that in a while.
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna open that up here. Give me a second.
I mean, you really should have had it open anyway, but...
Well, it's usually better than this.
Yeah, true. Our unpopular opinions normally has better opinions. Or worse opinions, depending on the opinion.
Shower thought. Money can't buy you happiness, but it can buy you serotonin.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
You're a clever boy, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's just true.
Shower thought. Thor wields a hammer and controls lightning, making him both a carpenter and electrician. That's definitely a shower thought. You had that thought in a shower.
Yep.
Unpopular opinion. A stone exists somewhere that will be used as your gravestone. he thinks we're gonna have marked graves. There will be too many to count, my friend. And the shower thought. Alcohol has probably caused more births than deaths. That's an interesting question, actually.
I mean, there are so many stories we've heard. There was literally one we read off earlier, where someone was like, I went drinking and cheated on my wife, so I have another child. Like, this happens a lot.
Yeah, but then people also die a lot because of alcohol. So
true.
That's an interesting. I'll give him that. That's an interesting thought. There's no way to prove that. There's no way to verify that. But it's interesting.
It is fascinating. It's very fascinating.
Alcohol, the great equalizer.
Maybe not in the best of ways, but it is an equalizer.
Shower thought. Mirrors don't break, they multiply into smaller mirrors.
Oh.
I
OP?
suppose, yes.
OP might.
Mm.
That's a good shower thought. Ooh.
Yeah, look at that. Look at that.
OP has an idea there. Ooh.
Shower thought. When you smell your own fart, you're basically putting it back inside. Not really, but I mean, I get what you're saying. Maybe like a tiny percentage of it, I guess.
A little bit, just a little bit.
Unless you break your back and literally snort
Just
up your
suck
own
a fart
ass.
out of your ass.
That's a way to break your back. Shower thought. One of the advantages of being tall is you can easily fold large blankets.
True. Very true.
Yeah. Shower thought. When rooms are repainted, the living space gets slightly smaller. Very, very, very slightly. Yeah.
It's the yeah, the room gets smaller in the same way that Link moves back ever so slightly every single time the animation loops when he's holding a rupee.
Yeah.
It's just going to take a lot of paint to make the room physically noticeably smaller.
I will say I have seen rooms that were repainted so many times that you can kind of feel the room is smaller than it was originally built as.
Yeah.
I have seen, but that takes a lot. That takes a room that's been repainted like 10 times.
Yeah. To the point where there's like an inch worth of paint.
Yeah. And at that point, you should probably like just scrap it and like redo it from the base.
Yeah.
But whatever. Anyway. Dara thought, when you're in your 20s, you think 50 is old, but when you're in your 80s, you think it's young. Congratulations, you have just discovered perspective.
Relativity!
Congrats. If you were 2 inches tall, you'd think 5'1" is tall. But if you were 2 meters tall, you'd think it was short.
Yeah.
You doing anything?
Yeah, welcome to a little concept we call relativity.
Mm-hmm. Congratulations. I'm proud of you. You made it.
Good job. Good job.
Shower thought, almost every handshake almost every adult hand you shake in a greeting has had a dick in it. Let's be real, most children's hands too.
Most children's hands as well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, the hand, it wanders.
Yeah. It just, this is why we wash our hands.
Yep. This is the way we wash our hands, wash our hands, wash our hands. This is the way we wash our hands to get the dick off.
Yep. Among other things, sure. Shower thoughts. It's not fair that bears simultaneously look so cute, fuzzy, and cuddly and will also tear you to shreds. Oh, contrast. It's a beautiful thing.
It's amazing. Yep. Don't judge a book by its cover, and don't judge a bear by its cuteness.
Shower thoughts. Nachos are one of the messiest foods to eat, especially while driving, but they've become a staple of gas station cuisine. I have never had gas station nachos, and I don't plan to.
I have. They're very sad.
Yeah. Just feels like not good nachos in the first place. Although I imagine when you get gas station nachos, I imagine they probably come with a plastic fork.
Yeah. Gas station nachos are just like, they're sad nachos, but they're still nachos. So like I can't be too mad. It's still nachos.
Shower thought, movies have made us believe hanging from cliffs is going to be much more prevalent in real life.
Yep. Can't tell you how many action movies I've seen that have like entire segments where the character is just like fucking rock climbing.
Mm-hmm. Cartoons made me think my permanent record was going to be a much bigger deal than it ended up being.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure it exists.
That'll be on your permanent record.
I'm not even sure that's real. I don't even think that's.
You know what? I am curious enough. Is my permanent record real? Alas, the myth of the permanent record has been debunked. Although student records will contain personal information and possibly make note of disciplinary problems, students can rest a little easier knowing that their every move isn't being recorded in a permanent location for the whole world to see. So yeah,
I was like, there's no way. I went to 5 different schools before I graduated. There's no way.
Yeah, there's
5 different schools in 3 different states.
there's a record of like where you've been and like what schools you went to, but like there's not a record of like all of the bad things that you've done in your entire school career. Like that, no one.
On Tuesday, November 12th, 2004, he picked his nose and rubbed it on the table. This will surely affect his employability in the future.
Yeah, no, that shit's just nonsense.
No.
It's just complete nonsense.
Shower thought, preemies, babies born prematurely. Nobody calls them that. You made that up. Nobody says that. Nobody calls them preemies. No, Kevin, nobody calls them preemies. It's not a thing.
Cabbage Patch Preemies is literally an offshoot of Cabbage Patch Kids.
Why do you know that?
It's the random shit I find on the internet, man.
Preemies, a word nobody uses for babies born prematurely, are the only humans that are younger than their age might indicate. No, they're not. When you're born, you're born. That's when your age starts.
Yeah, when you're born, you're 0. There you go.
We don't
that is your birth date.
We don't count age from conception because we don't usually know when exactly conception is, and it's different. It's slightly different for everyone. We don't count age from conception. We count it from birth. If they're born prematurely, they're just born early, but their age is still their age. You suck. You're stupid. Get out of here.
I think your shower needs to be a little hotter. You're not getting good blood flow to your brain.
Shower thought, life is a pyramid scheme.
Oh, God.
Shower thought, it is almost certain that at one point in history, a shark has discovered that camels exist.
That's not a shower thought. That's a crackhead thought.
Yeah, that's not. No, no.
Dude, how hard did you hit that blunt? What the fuck? Why were you thinking about this? What?
Shower thought, there has to be someone born on November 11th, 11111 at 11:11, and yeah, probably.
Yeah, probably.
Maybe. Well, no, because if we're talking about the year 1111, there were a lot less people back then, so there were a lot births from more. It's not like today where someone's born every 3 seconds. Back then the ratio was a lot, so like it's actually not guaranteed, but it probably, but I would say not guaranteed.
Yeah.
I would still put I would still put money on that, but like I mean, like I don't think it's guaranteed. It wouldn't shock me if there wasn't, and they wouldn't have known that even if it was. So anyway. Shower thought, nothing is on fire. Fire is on things. That's a good point. Well, yeah.
Yeah,
fair
that's
play.
true. Yeah.
Fair play. Fair play.
You make a good point, OP. I'll give you that one.
Yeah. Yeah. Etymologically, that doesn't make sense. It should be like, it's like you're in fire, right?
Yeah.
But somehow I'm so used to it the other way, it just doesn't feel right anymore. So sometimes wrong things get so normalized that they just feel right, you know?
Yeah.
That's how you go.
Which is
shower thought.
I guess that's the reason why the term engulfed exists. Like you're engulfed in fire. So.
Shower thought, nothing cries louder than loneliness.
Get out. That's not a shower thought.
It's a postulation on the realities of this
That's a
coil.
fucking. Please go to R. I'm 13 and this is deep. You're not. You don't belong here.
It's 14.
Right. Just go to that subreddit.
Arrows. Shower thought, arrows bubbles are a clever way to spin having less chocolate in the bar. Okay, yeah, but it's good though. I've had arrows. They're great.
Yeah.
I miss having arrow bars because the world market closed over the pandemic and I can't get them anymore. But yeah, they were nice and light and airy and fluffy. It was great. Shower thought, we frown on nepotism but praise family businesses. Okay, we praise them to a point. We praise them when they're small.
Yeah.
We hate them when they're big.
Yeah, because
Effectively.
because then nepotism actually becomes a real issue.
Yeah.
And that starts to affect the business.
Nepotism at the mom and pop shop doesn't bother anyone because, like, duh, how else are they going to stay in business?
Exactly.
Yeah. All cakes are made in pans, but only pancakes are flapjacks.
Sure.
When humans become a multi-planetary species, Weight Watchers will have to rebrand as Mass Watchers. That's a good. You know what? Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Weight will be different on every planet. So yeah.
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 Hey, welcome to Mass Watchers.
That just sounds like someone looking through a window at a church.
I need to. Sorry, I need to go renew my Mass Watchers membership.
Gotta watch my mass. Oh boy. Shower thought, family is a marketing cult. It only survives if you continually add new members.
I mean, yeah, I guess.
Yeah. Eventually, every movie set in the future will be set in the past.
We're already getting that with movies that were made in like the 80s and shit. Like Back to the Future. Like Back to the Future happened already.
I love the intro for Far Cry Blood Dragon. It's like in the distant future of 2007.
And the scene from Harvey Birdman where George Jetson is like, "We're from the far off year of 2002," and then Harvey just looks at the calendar that says 2005.
It's 2004, but yeah.
Yeah.
You're always one off today.
I'm always one off. Yeah.
You could say it's an off day.
It may be an off day. I mean, it's snowing outside, and I wasn't expecting that, so that's already throwing me off.
The Duel of Fates technically isn't a duel because 3 people were involved. It's a Truel of Fates. Okay, smartass. That doesn't sound. That's not as catchy.
The menage a trois of fates.
The three-way of fate. Well, that's a good note to end on.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to the bakagaijinshow. You can follow along by subscribing for future bullshit drops.
New bullshit just dropped. Let's go.
New bullshit unlocked. You can be a part of the show if you fucking feel like it by writing us at bakagaijinshow@gmail.com or joining our official Discord server in the link provided below. And you can follow all of us on Twitter at ZekeFreak, at CCharmanderK, and hell, if you're feeling super generous, at Saradin Sedranor, even though he's not here, but he was here in spirit.
Yep, the spirit of Sedranor lives on.
He's out there somewhere, scrolling on his phone, shouting Kali Booba. It's a real thing.
Yep.
It's probably happening right now as
with Halo, with the sounds of Halo echoing in the distance. Yep.
Just like that.
Yep.
He should be back at some point, maybe. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
He's a busy man. Anyway, thanks for listening to the Bakagaijin Show. Zeke freak out. Ciao for now.
They tell me that I'm never gonna make it. They want me to do something that could make sense. They hate when I keep dreaming I'll be famous, but I don't give a fuck, I'ma keep chasing. I got all this potential that's deep inside of me, but they hate when you're successful cause they try to be. They sit there being judgmental because you're trying things, and they just want you to settle and do the right thing. So get a good job, don't slack off. Wake up every morning, make a good impression on your boss. Don't do anything that I wouldn't do, and when you're making money, make sure you don't spend it too soon. Fuck that, I'll do what I wanna do. I got a different path from everyone, and that includes